You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Snap, the kick, it's been blocked again! Oh my! It's been blocked again! Gonna heave one deep down the field. It's gonna be to the goal line. It's gonna be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyree Cleveland! Oh my! I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw, pops and fires the ball over the middle. It's Nori! It's Nori! Got a touchdown! Nori's got a touchdown! Oh man! Nori's got a touchdown! Hands it off to Marvin. He comes back. Say goodbye.
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out a winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium and Gale. It's your boy Corey.
It's Dan.
And the wrongest man in Gainesville, Nick.
Beautiful, beautiful Monday, cloudy Monday, Hurricane Milton Monday evening. Same corner, same time. How's it going, fellas? Y'all good?
Good. Yeah, reporting live to you from Evacuation Zone A here in Tampa. I will be leaving tomorrow morning. Ginger Z is across the way there. Jim Cantori's not too far. So we're gonna head on out of Dodge a little bit and just try to get to an evacuation zone or a non-evacuation zone in a non-flood zone area. But this is a storm that many people have said will one day come to Tampa. So prayers for all of those in the Tampa St. Pete, greater Tampa Bay area. Hell of a storm, man. Hell of a storm.
Yeah, this is wild. And obviously Tampa right in the eye, but also those, Cape Coral, all those places a little south, smaller towns, fishing towns, little beach towns. If you're in an evacuation zone, just
get out.
Just get out.
Yeah, go now. The highways are packed, as you can imagine. Get somewhere safe. Be away. Run from water. Hide from wind. But just not great. Tampa avoided, some of the more direct impact from Helene, but there's a lot of low-lying areas in the Tampa Bay area, especially over in Pinellas County, that, are still reeling from a lot of flooding. A lot of people still have their belongings out on the street from last week. So, thoughts and prayers for this town, this community, and everybody else. But if you're in that zone, and just be studious, watch the news, watch the right news, the people that are telling you what to do and where to be, avoid some of the frantic, folks that are out there to try to scare you and drum up those clicks. But, definitely, there's an opportunity to get to a safe space and get to a safe place.
Yeah, man. I'm on the East Coast over here, Southeast, and that thing, it looks huge, bro. I don't think we'll get as hit as hard as the West Coast, everybody on the Gulf, but still preparing. Still should get a lot of rain. The inches looking crazy, but it kind of popped up out of nowhere. And I know you guys are still trying to bounce back from the last one. Some of the ones on the Gulf Coast, debris, everything's still on the road. So yeah, if you can evacuate, get out of Dodge, man. Property and things can be replaced, lives can't.
Right.
So let the insurance and everything else do what it do, but get out of Dodge. Save yourself.
Yep. So everybody that's in the line of the hurricane, please just be safe. Like what Corey said, just be safe, be smart, don't touch power lines, all that kind of stuff. So we're not meteorologists, follow them for their news. But what we are here to do is to celebrate a huge victory by the Florida Gators over the Central Florida Golden Knights. Before we do that, we welcome SEC Mike. SEC
No,
Mike.
Maybe we'll change his name.
Wishes UCF Mike onto the show here. Corey, if you could give a what seems to be a great time to do an insurance ad, or if you could shout out our friend Greg Brunt, and we'll bring UCF Mike on.
Hey man, it's never too late. If you don't have everything insured, 954-589-2204 is Brunt Insurance phone number. Use that thing like it's 911 today. He insures everything from homes, auto, your life, all that's important right now. Trailers, motorcycles, boats, RVs, anything that can be insured, my man Greg insures it. Visit bruntinsurance.com, or like I said, 954-589-2204. protect those things that you love and value, it can all be replaced.
Greg, what is it,
baby?
All right, before we bring UCF Mike on, pardon me, Anthony Beck, appreciate you, the super chat. Before we read, if you are watching on YouTube, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you share with all your friends and family and those that want to hate watch. We like when they hate watch and give us hate donations. But y'all let Nick have it for even picking UCF. Dock his paycheck. Bringing it up with HR as we speak, Anthony. I appreciate that. We'll make sure that donation does not.
Listen, before we put the heat on me, there was only one person talking more reckless than I was, and I'm glad he's here to take the heat off of me a little bit. Mike, I listen. I predicted 1,000 rushing yards. I predicted the Gus Bus to go all up and down the field. Instead, it was a flat tire.
You doubled down, like all on business. You stood on the business, bro. I appreciate it though.
Unfortunately, the business was quicksand.
Thank you guys for having me back on. You know, I was getting a little concerned the week leading up to the game. I never heard from you, and then hours after the game's over, my inbox lights up. All of a sudden, you want me back on the show.
That's right.
I'm happy to come on, man. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah,
Mike, you hit us up before the game. You tagged us all in a pre-jog. You was in my city, using a 3-5, just vibing, man. Like jogging around with your shirt off. Like you kick your feet up. I was ready to disrespect my venue, and
he was on the corner of Stadium and Gale, asking where we were. So Mike, you're here, ready to stand in the paint. Nick and I had the privilege of going on the Sons of UCF podcast on Thursday. But here's an opportunity, Mike. The Gators do win in what's a rather uneventful game. The first half certainly a lot better than the second half, just in terms of activity. But final score 24-13. What happened to the Central Florida Golden Knights in this game?
Yeah, same thing that happened all over college football all day Saturday. Big upsets all over the place. You saw Alabama go down to Vandy. You saw Tennessee go down to Arkansas. You saw.
Would you say UF beating UCF is on par with Vanderbilt beating Alabama in terms of the upset of the day, Mike?
They were 3-point underdogs at home to the UCF Nights coming into the game. Which, if I told you that, I don't know, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, last week, that a UCF team that was coming off a 27-point drubbing to the hands of Colorado would be favored by 3 points in the swamp against the Gator team. Coming off a bye week, coming off a victory on the road against Mississippi State, you would have said I was crazy. You would have said that was some stupid shit that I wrote. Oh, can I say that? Sorry.
No, yeah, you're fine. I mean, Mike, I'll be honest with you. You're lucky that Billy Napier doesn't know how to step on the throats of his opponents.
I'm telling you.
3 total drives in the entire second half for the Florida Gators. Some conspicuous play calling maybe in that second half, but at no point, Mike, and you have to admit, did UCF look on par with the Florida Gators from a talent perspective, from a coaching perspective? Is the Gus Bus running out of gas?
Yeah, the Gus Bus. I mean, you ask anybody in Orlando, they're done with the Gus Bus. I mean, this another indictment on Florida that this is a fireable offense. Losing to Florida in the swamp, people want Gus gone because of this game. Not just this game, but the prior game against Colorado. And kind of how the program's gone backwards in the last 4 years from where it was just under Heupel and under Frost. He has not improved the program, though the recruiting supposedly has gotten better. He brings in a guy like KJ Jefferson to be the quarterback, and Jefferson was terrible. And he's been terrible all year. I mean, he was missing wide open guys. And there's a screen pass there on one of those last couple of drives where he almost throws it over the guy's head. Yeah. He's 2 feet in front of him.
Yeah, that may have been one of the worst passes I've seen a college football quarterback make this year. No, I mean, no offense, but just it was bad.
No, he's been doing that all year. He's had a good half of play against TCU. The second half against TCU, he was good making throws. Before that, the New Hampshire game, he was bad. The Sam Houston game, he was not that great. A half good against TCU. Colorado, he was bad. And Florida, he was bad again. I mean, he was missing some wide open guys. He looks slower than he has been in the last couple seasons. So that's who Gus was basing this season on. He was bringing in a guy who supposedly had SEC experience, KJ Jefferson. He was going to make the difference better than John Rice Plumlee, and he just has not been that.
What I'm hearing between KJ Jefferson at Central Florida and DJ DJU at FSU, Ungalele at FSU is just don't bring in fat quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
Yeah,
unbelievable body shaming in the year 2024 of our Lord.
Two of the worst quarterbacks in the Power Four right now, Nick, are your two fattest quarterbacks. I'm not trying to fat shame because I've lost some weight this year. I'm just letting you know, like, you can't.
I'm just getting little brother vibes, man. I'm getting like I'm a little brother, right? I got a big brother, and every time he used to beat my ass, I had a bunch of excuses. I just couldn't like figure it out, So it's just little brother vibes. UCF is still a little brother. Y'all can't get over that hump. Even in a down UF, man, just unfortunate circumstances. But you guys cannot get over that hump. This was y'all Super Bowl. And you thought our coach was gonna get fired, but you want to fire your coach.
Yeah, no, I'm not here to make excuses for sure. I mean, KJ Jefferson was bad, but I'm not one to come on and say, it's because all these players opted out of the game. I mean, nobody would make excuses like that. Not even Florida Gator fans would come out and say we lost because people were opting out. But it's worth mentioning our number 2 wide receiver, kick returner, punt returner, Xavier Townsend opted out before the game. We had 4 defensive players opt out before the game. Our starting kicker opt out.
Who's going to throw Townsend the ball?
Yeah,
let's
talk culture issues over at UCF before we talk now. But I think beyond KJ, right? Like one of the lower. Was this your lowest rushing total of the year?
Rushing total of the season, yeah.
Yeah. And the Gators, I'll be honest with you, may have been one of the worst rushing defenses in the country coming into this game. What was it? This is the question that I have. I know RJ Harvey's a great player, probably an NFL player. I was kind of expecting more out of Penny Boone this year. He played okay in this game, but what is it that you think stifled the rushing attack?
It's nobody respects the pass, and nobody needs to respect the pass. And we saw with Colorado. I was at the Colorado game last week too. They're putting 9 guys up front. Mm-hmm. They're daring KJ Jefferson complete something over the top, go over the middle, and he can't do it. So until he proves that he can complete those passes, why not stuff everybody up there? You're going to stop the run, and it's obvious. And Gus hasn't changed anything up. He continues to run the ball up the middle or try to run it up the middle. It's very predictable. And Nick mentioned the sense of urgency. I mean, they got the ball back. I know the game didn't seem close, but you get the ball back, and I've seen it a million times in football. You're down 2 scores. There's 4.5 minutes. You got 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. Try to pass the ball, move the ball. They're running the play clock down to 5 seconds before they snap the ball. I was scratching my head. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Mike, y'all used almost the whole third quarter, and then got 3 points. I knew it was a wrap then. Like Gus' offense is set up. If you get down 2 scores, unless he gets really, really explosive in the run game, it's going to be impossible for you to get a comeback because he drains the clock and he can't get vertical. But when you guys spent the whole third quarter, we didn't score any points in the second half, and we should have. A real coach, that's why we're going to fire Billy ass, because a real coach would have put – a real Florida coach would have put 40, 50, 60 points up on this UCF team. And Billy was fine with knowing you guys couldn't go get points and then try to pile on when you got to pile on in those situations. But who's your backup quarterback? Like, who's behind KJ Jefferson?
Ja'Cory Brown, right? Yeah, Ja'Cory Brown from Miami. Yeah, transferred from Miami, but no glowing reviews from him coming out of fall camp. Nobody was saying, "Oh, he's going to come in and take the job." And we saw him play a little bit in the opener against New Hampshire. Came in, fumbled the ball. So it's not like we're all thinking he's the savior. You got a true freshman, EJ Colson, who supposedly has talent, but nobody's seen anything out of him. Dylan Risk is I think the 3rd on the depth chart. He's been here for a couple of years. Nobody's saying he's the future either. You've let guys go like Tommy Castellanos, who's now at Boston College playing okay.
Good player.
Dylan Gabriel obviously was here under Gus his first year. He's gone. So quarterbacks have come and gone. He put all the chips in the middle of the table with KJ Jefferson, and it's just not working out. So this could be a long year in Orlando too. You guys may have just beaten one of the worst UCF teams of the last 5-10 years.
Well, enjoy being favored. It might be the last time UCF is favored this season in the game.
They're favored again against Cincinnati. I don't get it.
Well,
I don't know your schedule. I'll be honest with you.
Nick, sure don't.
Talking, egregiously here.
listen, I'm just keep talking egregiously. It worked so well last week. It was over for me once Florida went up 21-3. It's like, all right, well, this offense is not built to overcome that. But the really surprising thing to me was just no urgency, just completely content down 3 scores to spend 5.5 minutes methodically driving down the field. And it wasn't a good drive for Florida's defense, but when UCF scores there, I'm thinking, I mean, it's not bad for Florida's defense. Sure, you would have liked to have gotten a stop, but you gave up 7, and it took 6 minutes to do it. UCF is going to run out of time before Florida gives up enough points to even go into overtime or to potentially lose the game. What was going on just with Gus and the offense just being like, yeah, no, we're fine. We'll take 25 seconds in between each plays, down 3 possessions in the second half.
Yeah, I don't know if he just fell in love with what happened at TCU, because against TCU, we were down 3 touchdowns in the second half too, and he continued to run the ball, and it worked, but we were breaking off long runs, and then there was a long touchdown pass in between. We couldn't see any of that on Saturday, and you're hoping maybe the defense forces a fumble or something and changes field position. I don't know what he was doing, but yeah, he was taking way too long. We asked him in the press conference afterwards, what's going on there in the last 4 minutes? He had no answers. He looks lost on the sidelines right now, Gus does, and that's one of the reasons a lot of UCF fans are upset. And I think a lot of us have now seen enough of Gus. You know, it's been 4 years. Usually that's the amount of time you give a new coach to get his system implemented, his players in, and things have just not gotten better. I know we stepped up. We're in the Big 12 now, but I mean, the game against Colorado, we got embarrassed at home. This game was embarrassing too.
Yeah, and that
I think,
TCU and
outside of the quarterback.
Go ahead.
Yeah, outside of the quarterback, your line of scrimmage, man, is just lacking. I seen that in the Colorado game. That made me excited, and I said that last week. From a trenches standpoint, there was nothing to fear there. I thought we was bigger, stronger, and we're going to be able to do some things. The only thing that was going to hold us back from beating y'all after what I saw in Colorado was Billy Napier. Other than that, the talent, there's a big talent gap. What are you guys standing in Big 12? You just giving up on the season, or where you at with it?
No, I mean, if you look at a big picture, you have one loss. It's in the Big 12, and you have one loss. There's a whole season to go. I go back a long ways with UCF. I've been following this team since '98 when I was a freshman, right? So I've seen it all. I've seen winless seasons. This was not the most embarrassing Saturday of my life. We lost in Tampa one time, 64-12 to South Florida.
That's what it should have been.
I remember that.
That's what it should have been.
So trust me, there was a point in the first half when I looked at my buddy and I said, is this 64-12 again? I was a little worried when it was 24-3.
He doesn't know how to do that.
But in that same season, that was 2007, we lost an embarrassing game to East Carolina with Chris Johnson. You remember Chris Johnson, who was great, went on to play in the NFL. He ran all over us, killed us at East Carolina. The next week, we gave up 64 points to USF. 2 weeks in a row, we gave up 116 points. They ran off like the next 7 games, won Conference USA that year. So one loss in conference doesn't kill you. This loss actually has no effect on you. But if you look at the team and the way they've been playing, nobody has any confidence that they're going to run off 7 in a row, especially with teams that they have on the schedule. BYU, who nobody thought at the beginning of the year was going to be good, looks like they're pretty good. Arizona is not going to be easy. We're not going to be able to stop that passing attack. Yeah, Fafita's going to throw all over us. Utah at the end of the year is a very tough team. Even Cincinnati has been playing well. We play them this week, and I'm not even that confident against Cincinnati, which is crazy to say because coming into the year, I told you we would have blown them out.
It's a lot of dejection down there in Orlando, Mike. It's not hurricane related, you know.
It's a lot of talk about the AAC plus, which essentially is what the Big 12
is.
The
Mid 12. Yeah, I mean, tough loss for you guys, huge win for us. Before we had, have you
actually, Mike, if you want to stay for like the full show,
no. Nick's got to stand in the
keep
paint.
the attention off of me, Mike. That'd be great.
Week, so we got to revisit Nick's takes. Nick and you were the only ones to pick UCF on this show. So Nick's got to stand in the paint. I might put him in the big screen and keep Corey and I on the sideline here, just so Nick can stand in the paint.
Yeah, I mean, I told you guys I could stay until 7:30. I'm a big Yankee fan. I got to watch the Yankee game. I'm not even doing my own podcast tonight because I told them I'm watching the Yankees. We'll record tomorrow. So you got me for another few minutes if you want. But
no, I'm trying to keep the heat off of me, Mike. That's
go ahead.
I got one more for you. How you feel about the USF rivalry? They're pretty good this year.
They're better than I thought they'd be, but they're not that good either. I mean, they got their doors blown off against Tulane a couple of weeks ago, right? But it was a fun game when we played them every year. They're the closest geographical school to us. There is history with them going back. Now we played them, 12 times, whatever it is, the number of times we played them. I mean, a lot of times have been close games, even though there's been years where they were 2-win teams. Somehow they'd give us a close game at the end. Even when we were down and they were in the Big East and in 2005, 2006, 2007, some of those games were close. 2008 game went to overtime and they were like a top 15 team at the time. So it's a fun game. The fans get into it. I wouldn't mind seeing it every once in a while, but I don't miss them. I don't want to play them, and I don't want to play them in a bowl game this year, not with the way our team's playing. So I wouldn't want to risk losing to them, to be honest.
Mike, I got a question for you. Outside of potentially Billy Napier, who's on your coaching hot board?
Urban Meyer. How's that?
Already said he's not coaching. What? I was texting
Scott Frost. Bring Scott back home.
That's what I was just gonna say. Scott Frost is texting my UCF buddy the other day. He's like, I don't know who we should get. I was like, go get the guy that had his head between his legs, heading out of Nebraska. I think he's with the Rams now.
He's his OC though. I don't think he needs to
I always thought
get the game back together.
This was before the transfer portal era, but like I always thought there's too much talent in the state of Florida for the big three, and there is no big four, Mike. For the big three to take everyone.
Oh, you out, Mike.
And that Scott, but I thought that Scott would get guys who would instead go to like Georgia Tech or maybe go to Clemson to be a backup for a while. Like there's so much talent in the state of Florida. If you had a guy like Scott Frost with that kind of offense, like, hey, UCF could be really good. Obviously, he wanted to give it a shot at Nebraska, who I don't think will ever be a national contender, even with Dylan Raiola. But get Scott Frost back at UCF.
I agree.
A little disrespectful for you to kick FSU out of the Big Three already. I mean, they're having a down year. I get it. But they were 13-0 at one point.
Mike, and just like that, you've won back all of Florida fans, all of Gator Nation, back on your side.
Now, you guys got to get a skinny quarterback, though. No fat quarterbacks in the Big Three, you know?
Look, Urban was on campus last week for Big Noon kickoff, okay? And before the game was ugly. But before the game, the crowd was there. I think he saw the co-eds walking around Orlando. I got to tell you, he was impressed. Okay?
I know he's a big fan of co-ed,
Yes. So Urban back in Florida, and that would kind of needle you guys a little bit. I wouldn't mind that. Scott Frost, I wouldn't mind either. Let's face it. And we had a great time with Scott Frost. Everybody always, every once in a while, calls their ex up a little bit when they had a few drinks and says, I wouldn't mind getting back together.
Up. Hey, Scott, you up?
Yeah, exactly. Mike, let's be real here. Urban Meyer's not going back.
Urban Meyer would go back to Mormon, Utah before he came to UCF.
Come on. Mike, I respect you stayed in the paint, but now you're talking egregiously again, kind of like UCF beating Florida. Now you're like, we'll go get Urban Meyer. Buddy, I'll be honest with you. Urban Meyer's not coming back to UCF. He's not coming back to coach, but he's definitely not going back to coach UCF.
I think Nick Saban would be his defensive coordinator at UCF too.
Yeah, and Belichick.
Yeah, there. What a staff.
I'll give you the list of coaches that have been removed off of my hot board recently. So you can go after one of them.
Leopold?
I've recently removed Kalen DeBoer, Kirby Smart. Both of them have been removed off of my hot board.
Can't lose.
No, Austin Armstrong and Ron Roberts did enter the list, though, Nick. Not sure if you saw that. But there's an opportunity for them to be removed next week.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an opportunity. We're writing these in pencils. All right. Well, Mike, we appreciate you going on. I wish I could say go Yankees, but I don't have that affinity. But we do appreciate you coming on. Not everybody would come on and staying in the paint, man. And let everybody know where they can listen to your podcast. We had a lot of fun with the boys the other day, too. Let everybody know where they can follow you.
Sons of UCF, we do a live pod. Well, they do a live pod on Thursdays. I don't join that one much anymore, but we also do a regular podcast, comes out once a week. We've got a bunch of other spinoff shows that we put out with the pod that's associated with them. This is a good time. I'm a fan. I don't consider myself part of the media. That's my job. I just come in and tell it like it is. I like to talk trash. You guys know that. I did that leading up for the last couple of months. But we lose. I come on and say we lost. That's part of the game.
You did your job, right? You enjoyed. What do you think of Gainesville?
I like Gainesville. I like the campus.
I saw your tweet. The best view of Gainesville was your rear view mirror. I saw it.
I like the campus. Gainesville itself, I've been to Gainesville 100 times. When I was a student, I used to go up and visit friends. The city, I could do without it. But the campus itself, I did take that jog around campus in the morning. I like it. It was nice. The brick buildings, the hilly streets. It was very picturesque. I enjoyed it. The city
Much
itself.
nicer campus than UCF.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. UCF is a newer style campus. Gainesville's got that. It's got the old fields.
Enjoy the campus.
No, UCF is ugly. Come on.
The stadium. I mean, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. It's got all the charm of a building that was built during the Great Depression. I get it. The concessions are terrible, by the way. I mean, the two beer options are Mick Ultra and High Noons. I mean,
you've got the head ball coach.
Well, no, you've got Shock Top too, which is the official craft beer of the Florida Gators.
Not where I was sitting.
They needed hard liquor for that game.
Yeah, we need to get you up to the club section.
We needed shots of Patron and shit like that for that game.
Yeah, we'll get you.
I feel your pain, Mike.
The in-stadium experience was fine. I mean, it had the perfect mix of corniness with the 2-bits chant, and then the originality of putting your lights on for the Tom Petty song. I don't think anybody's thought about that. Turning the lights on at night. That's a very original thought of you guys.
We appreciate you, Mike. Don't criticize Tom Petty. You can criticize.
I enjoy the Tom Petty,
like John Anderson and Seminole Win and stealing our mojo, but no, you are not going to criticize Tom Petty on this podcast or the great tradition of 2-bits. Maybe
what a roller coaster Mike's taking us on.
Yeah, Mike, appreciate you, brother. We'll have you come back on.
In all seriousness, though, be careful out there. I know that storm's coming right to you guys.
Yeah.
Be safe. Take care of each other. Okay. I want to be able to make that trip up there again in a few years. Though that drive was terrible. I'm coming from South Florida. It took me forever to get up there, dude. I got to be honest. 6 hours is too much. But yeah, be careful out there, okay? Everybody stay safe, and I'll talk to you guys soon, okay?
Awesome. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, Mike.
All right, Nick, stand in the paint time.
Look at this guy, man. You're something else, bro. You sold Mike out, bro. You was right with Mike. You act like Mike was the only UCF guy this whole time.
No, exactly, Corey. Did you see that?
Nick selling him out. It seemed as though as long as Mike was on, I could just run the clock out and the show would be over.
No, we don't often spotlight one of the three of us, but here you are in the spotlight. You were the only one on this show last week to pick UCF to beat Florida. So I want you to apologize to Gator Nation.
Whoa, then not just last week.
He put it in print too. And he did it like 3 months ago. He did it without you here. I let him kind of walk all over me with this idea that UCF might beat Florida. He didn't convince me, but I mean, I was open to listening, right? You know?
Yeah, which is good. Gotta have an open mind, man. It's, this is our brother in podcasting, man. And I had a week off. I came back and I heard this agrees. First of all, my DMs was going crazy, man. Why did you let Nick talk all crazy about UCF? I said, man, I'll handle business when I get back. I came back and he stood on business again. He doubled, tripled down, had great takes for UCF, a lot of positivity. He's negative Nick on our show, but he was positive Patty for UCF. Like, yeah, all the positive.
Now he's leaving. Nick is highlighted on the screen. He's leaving.
Gus is washed. Gus offense is from 2010. He don't got Cam Newton. He got great value Cam Newton trying to do things he did at Auburn. And he let Billy Napier, of all coaches, put him in a headlock.
Put a choke.
Give him a wedgie, a swirly.
Just an absolute beatdown. Nick, apologize to the fans. Anthony gave us money. If you don't apologize to the fans, you're not getting cut in. Is that some?
Yeah, I was wrong. I imagined this show to be sort of like after the Texas A&M game where Corey was just yelling "fired," where he would just like anytime I would talk, he would just yell "wrong" at me throughout the entire show. But yeah, I was wrong. Florida, I don't know who that defense was or where they got that. I did not believe that the bye week would change anything. They told us the bye week was transformational, and apparently it was.
All right, we're not going to get carried away here either. We got a lot to break down about this.
Let me swing as far Homer as I can.
No. We don't want you to do that because you lose your authenticity of who you are as a person when you do that, Nick. I heard what I had to hear. Corey, did you hear what you had to hear? out of Nick?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Enough is enough, man. I appreciate it, man. Negativity don't always pay off. That's the lesson here, kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes the glass is half full. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I was positive before the Miami game.
And
I was told to stop being positive.
Nick, you apologize to the fan, and I appreciate that. Let's see here. Dan, is Dan evacuating to his favorite city, Jacksonville? I'm not evacuating to Jacksonville. In fact, I don't know what it would take for me to evacuate to Jacksonville, but I will be safe. But I appreciate everybody is concerned. Many people ask me, and I do want Jacksonville to be safe in this storm. Speaking of Jacksonville, Lauren Vanoy. I need Nick to keep that same energy for Tennessee. It worked for UCF.
I'm going to.
All right. Let's see.
You've been hyped about Tennessee as well, so it's going to be interesting to see what the Tennessee breakdown sounds like.
Maybe Tennessee stinks. Maybe everyone except for like Texas and Ohio State stink.
We're going to talk about Tennessee stinking here. They lost to Arkansas. Guy, appreciate the $20. Big shout out to Guy. I wish I had a horn thing.
Hold on. Shout out to Guy, because Guy polices the Gators online message boards, which,
oh boy, what a thankless
depending
job.
on the day or the hour, can be a full-time job.
Yeah, shout out to Guy. Matt Thornton, in Nick's defense, we heard lies all offseason. Yeah, Nick was lying all offseason. He was.
Lying for UCF is crazy.
Listen, I had trust issues. And can you blame me for having trust issues? I drove around the state of Florida and heard Billy Napier tell Gator clubs, this is our best team. And then I watched him get pimp slapped by Miami. And I watched him get pimp slapped by Texas A&M. So I had some trust issues when I heard it was a great bye week. I'm not going to take it at face value.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about that. And then JP here. It's been a minute, boys. 3-2 with the season ahead of us. I still got lies. Let's go Gators. Dare I say 8-4 incoming?
Whoa.
I'm not going to say
who is
that.
JP's picture?
Yeah, JP changed his picture. JP, I need the old picture back.
But who's in the neck brace?
Yeah.
JP, let us know who's in the neck brace. All right, so let's get into the game a little bit. Appreciate everybody for your super chat donations. Hit the like button while you're here. So again, Gators win 24-13 in a game. Despite what Mike says, did not look that close at all. Gators go and score 24 points in the first half, up 24-3. Surrender 10 points in the second half to UCF to bring the score a little bit closer. Gators do only get 3 total drives in the second half. Just revisiting this buy or sell segment, everybody bought, except for me, that the Gators would throw for 250 yards, just below. Everybody but me said the Gators would be under 150 yards rushing. You guys bought it. I sold. So 2 for 2 for me. We all said the Gators would give up more than 350 yards of defense. They don't. So we all lose there. And then of course I don't remember what my buy or sell was for the group here. 2.5 sacks. The Gators get 5 sacks in that game, the most that they've had in a game since they played KJ Jefferson and that Arkansas team from last week. So shout out to Corey and Dan leading the way. Nick, a very distant third in buy or sell this week. We don't often revisit, but
Perfect time.
Special
perfect time to revisit, huh?
Yeah, perfect time.
Let's go offense. What do you guys think of the offensive performance? Just a quick rundown here. Your highest ranked players that played, I don't know, probably seemingly more than, we'll just go 14, 15 snaps here. Graham Mertz was your highest ranked offensive player, followed by Austin Barber. Jacoby Jackson's there. He only had 6 plays. Then DJ Lagway, Jaden Ball. We're going to talk a lot about him. Chim DK, and then Brendan Crenshaw-Dixon. Crenshaw-Dixon silently is performing as one of the best tackles in college football right now, ranked as the 18th best tackle in all of college football right now. That's all divisions of the FBS. So, gentlemen, your thoughts on the offensive part of this game?
First half, great. First half, it was looking like Florida could run away. I'll say that. It was looking like Florida could have a 42-14 kind of game. Offensively, I thought they moved the ball. That first drive was methodical.
Yeah.
Just you can call it dink and dunk, but like Florida just took whatever they were giving them straight down the field, scored. I like that coaches keep doing this to Florida when they're at home, because I think the Swamp has been incredible pregame. Fans are in their seats, no late arriving, and it's like Florida loses the toss and the other coach says defer, and then you kind of take the fans out of it by having the offense go on the field first. But that drive gave them stuff to cheer about, and then immediately Florida's defense comes out and kind of keeps that energy going. Or actually, no, UCF had a long drive, the first one. Then Florida shut them out.
Field goal,
But yeah, offensively in the first half, I thought Mertz looked good. That lagway pass to Chim's just a dime.
Yeah, DJ Dimes. Told you. You guys didn't want to go with the name, but it's gonna happen. Keep throwing dimes. DJ Dimes is it.
Feel like you could legally adopt my daughter with the level of dad that joke has.
No facts. It's a god dad joke. At the very minimum, it's a god dad joke.
Bad joke. It's not a dad joke.
But yeah, I thought the offense was really, really good. And I guess we'll get into the second half later. That's a whole different topic. But I thought the offense was really good, really promising. One real question mark, I guess, would be that last drive. You call a timeout to then like run a quarterback draw, to then call another timeout. And I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, flow of the game is still
to then like set up the field goal. It's like, and I also like Billy being aggressive. You get the stupid running into the kicker call.
Yeah,
but I like Billy being aggressive. You get that Montrell Johnson touchdown, and then you get a tackle, like a 3-yard gain on first down, and Billy calls timeout with like a minute 30. Like, hey, we're trying to get this ball back. And the defense almost did get them the ball back, with a bunch of times. So,
see, he tricked me. That's when he tricked me. When he was calling timeout before half trying to get extra points, I was like, okay, do we got Killer Billy tapping in? And then second half happened. So I was like, oh no, I don't know
Billy's back.
What happened. He's like bipolar a little bit.
Bipolar Billy. Be a good show title. I'm gonna write that down.
All right, but offense, man, I thought like first half was beautiful, man, in a lot of different ways. Mertz was definitely efficient. He's leaving a lot of points and just yardage on the field with some of his checkdowns that I think are predetermined. Some of those running back swing passes, he's throwing that right out the gate before he even makes a read. So that's the one negative that I have on him is I think he's leaving a lot of points and a lot of productivity on the field with some of his pre-snap decisions. Both quarterbacks look good, but there's a difference when Lagway's on the field. Every time he's touching the field, he's trying to go vertical, and he's got some anticipation on his throws. The offense just looks more explosive. The run game even gets a little bit more explosive with him in there. So I just think overall the offense looks better with him in. I would like to see him get more snaps outside of just these series. Give him a quarter. I think he's earned it. You can trust him. His pre-snap reads as well. He's making adjustments before the snap that a lot of freshmen wouldn't do. So he has a lot of, I would say, authority in the offense with some of the things he's doing as a true freshman. But I want to see him play more. Around the country, you're starting to see more freshman quarterbacks play, and I think he can get it done. We'll see how it all plays out with this Tennessee game. But Hansen surprised me. I know, Nick, you had another egregious take about him being Odom. He is not Odom. And,
he is absolutely Jonathan Odom.
Yeah, him running out of bounds was an egregious decision. Lower your head. You're a big dude, 240 pounds probably.
For sure.
Yeah, like what are you
like? But also like
balance.
I didn't think Jonathan Odom was bad. Jonathan Odom's serviceable. Like Hayden Hansen's serviceable. He just gets talked about, I think, as like a potential like all SEC tight end. And I'm like, he's Jonathan Odom. He's a serviceable tight end.
I think he's better than Jonathan.
He's gonna block.
He's a huge kid. Like his catch radius, he's a big guy.
Like
Odom wasn't that
6'7" and a half.
Yeah, he's a big guy. I like the way he played, and he's coming down with some good catches, some good targets. My man Tank Hawkins, I'm back to back with you, man. Well,
no.
Yeah,
I got my defense here.
Yeah, I'm going to time out real quick. I just want to finish on quarterbacks because I know we like to bounce around a lot, but if we can just knock out some of these positions. So let's knock out quarterback real quick. Corey, you had some good thoughts there. You're right. I mean, Florida's offense with Graham Mertz, in this game, Graham Mertz was 11 for 13 in a clean pocket for 98 yards, 9 for 11 under pressure for 90 yards. So pretty good. DJ Lagway is 3 for 4 for 43 yards in a clean pocket, 1 for 1 under pressure for 7 yards. They only went 2 for 5 in throws beyond 20 yards. And one of that was that really nice pass to Chim DK. Mertz went 3 for 4 for 82 yards and passes in between the 10 and 20 yards. But that just means that 23 out of their 32 passes, and most of these would have been under Graham Mertz, went past 10 yards in the air. So it's definitely a very different offense. And I understand your point about leaving points on the field and what that play calling looks like. It's not moving the ball down the field the same way that they do with DJ Lagway.
Yeah, there was I think Billy said today, it wasn't like DJ was specifically looking to push the ball downfield. Chim, that was his first read. Like, that was the play design. Now, maybe you're not calling that where the go route on the seam is, or the skinny post. I'm sure if it was a go or a skinny post, but maybe you're not calling that for Graham because he doesn't have the arm talent that DJ does. But it wasn't like DJ didn't choose to check down. Like, that was his first read. It just happened to be open. Sure. And then a beautiful throw. The difference, I think, is, and it really stuck out to me during the game. I don't know how much you see it on TV. Well, first off, you don't see it on TV. Graham, to Corey's point, there were several players open downfield. One where Graham took off, scrambled, didn't get the first down, slid. And it's not just last Saturday. I see that a bunch, at the games when you can see the whole play and it's not on TV when you're only looking, at the ball. There are opportunities that Graham isn't pulling the trigger on.
And these are plays that are happening in real time, not after a move has been made where a defensive player is going to move off, right? I've got to watch more, and obviously I don't get the full all 22, right? So you don't totally know, but based on watching some of the people that do sit in the press box or sit, during the game and like chart plays out, which, like, shout out to you for sitting in the swamp and charting plays out. Like, I got 2 beers in my hand during the game, but I appreciate those folks.
But what really stood out to me is I thought UCF did a bunch of stuff we hadn't seen from them. They had a bunch of like odd numbers, odd fronts, bringing pressure from different places. And there was a lot of times where Graham Mertz and Jake Slaughter are completely changing the protections, pointing out the mic, pointing out where pressure is coming from. And I think DJ's 19, Graham's 24, playing his 6th season. That's probably something. Not even probably. It's definitely something that Graham is better at right now. And I don't know that Florida's offensive line is great, but I think getting that kind of pre-snap stuff from Slaughter and from Mertz is going to make them better. I also think if they're not great, DJ's legs will make them look better. But I think that's probably the biggest gap in my mind right now that Graham has over DJ is just that experience, to be able to see what a defense is doing and really know and be able to process it in real time of, okay, this is what they're doing to combat what we're trying to do. Here's how we can move things around to keep me safe in the pocket. And then now I know where to go with the ball.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see why, like, he may know, like, the checks. Well, I just haven't seen any incompetence when Lagway's at the helm. He's making adjustments. If they show blitz, I see him making calls. And I haven't seen any plays where I thought he didn't make any calls and got blitzed or any protections that cost us. So from the snaps that he has been in, it seems like he's making adjustments as well with protections and whatnot. Even with the pass that you're talking about when he hit and just
Chim,
I'm sorry to DK. I was not familiar with your game, bro. All apologies to you, bro. I was wrong from the punt return to everything else. The boy can hoop. We'll talk about receivers in a little bit, but the quarterbacks also know their talent. And I think even if Graham Mertz got that pass what we saw, he's not making that throw, in my opinion. And a lot of those throws he overthrow because a lot of it's just anticipation and throwing guys open, and you can't really teach that. It's just a talent that you have, and I think that's one of those, like, one of the things that made Jameis Winston a great college quarterback was anticipation on throws and throwing guys open. And Lagway has that trait about him, and also just a leadership quality. And in the RPO game, it just makes it more explosive. We got too many killers in our wide receiver room to be doing check downs, and it's going to cost us in real games. UCF was an inferior foe. we could get away with a lot of things that we were doing Saturday that we're not gonna get away with this Saturday. So you just can't hold this team back. And I think if you're not playing the absolute best players, and even if you're not going, say, Lagway full time, play him more. I think he's earned more snaps, period. How many series did he end up getting that game?
3.
I think it was 3, yeah.
Yeah, but that's because they only had 3 drives in the second half of that game. No, I mean 100%. And you know, Florida was without Trey Wilson and Aiden Mizell, still without Andy Jean. So some of your more talented players are still not out there. So, you know, hopefully, you know, we obviously see Shim DK really step up much better than any of us thought, right? Like we all looked at his tape at Wisconsin with Graham Mertz and you're like, oh, he's maybe got it. And then we saw him at the orange and blue game. We're like, he doesn't got it, right?
I think,
but now
I think we were wrong.
He's got it.
I don't think we were wrong. I think he has gotten better since he's gotten here. Like when talking about that off-season lip service, like when I was in when I was able to go inside and watch them like work out and talk to Tyler Miles, Tyler Miles said Jim DK has PR'd his top end speed 5 separate times in the 3 months that we've been here. So I think it was teaching an old dog new tricks, like getting into a new environment, into a new training program. I think this is probably the best he's ever been. So we might not have been wrong to be like, might just be like a possession, move the sticks kind of guy.
Gotta get Billy some flowers, bro. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, you gotta get Billy. I mean, look at the 2 guys that got
give David Decker some flowers too.
Shout out to David Decker. 100%.
Jim DK, 88 yards, 5 targets, 4 receptions, and then Elijah
rated
Badger,
as the top blocker as well. Jim DK, he was getting hype after a pancake.
Actually, he was
at some point.
Yeah, that boy was. Yeah.
Oh, I'll take a look here in a second. But yeah, I mean, Elijah Badger and Jim DK were your 2 leading targets. I mean, Montrell Johnson had 6. I didn't love many of the passes that they threw Montrell Johnson's way. But yeah, I mean, without Elijah Badger and Jim DK, where are you at as an offense right now with those injuries? You know,
and DJ Lagway, him. I can't express that enough. Like the kid is him. The throws we've seen him make from the spring game. Every opportunity, if he gets a chance to throw it down the field, he'll keep defensive coordinators up all night. You know, you got to unload the box, and that's gonna open the run game. Just got to play the kid more, man. There's no shot at Graham Mertz. I think he's playing efficient football. He played efficient football last year, but it's efficient football didn't get us a winning season. You just got to play. I think there would have been
a good opportunity to play him more. I wish that second half would have been a lot different. I wish they would have tried to move the ball down the field. Like, I think that's an opportunity where maybe you, instead of every 3 drives, maybe it's every other drive, right? You're already up 3 touchdowns. UCF can't move the ball. Now, can't look back in hindsight. UCF took up a ton of time on their drives in the second half to only limit the Gators to 3. But in hindsight, it would have been nice to be able to use that time to get DJ Lagway a little bit more burn.
Well, here's a question. Guy posted it. My question was kind of, it's a tightrope that Billy's walking because he has to win games this year to be able to coach DJ Lagway next year. I still think Graham gives you the best chance to win games, but you have to, and we've said this all year, you have to get DJ reps. He's pulling a 6th-year senior who's playing efficiently out of games in order to get this freshman reps. Does Billy not get any credit for that?
No, I don't think Graham gives you the best chance to win the games that's left on our schedule. I think you get a little bit of what you got last year. A lot of checkdowns. Checkdowns is not going to win the games that we got on our schedule. That's not going to beat Texas. It's not going to beat Tennessee. It's not going to beat Georgia.
Florida's not beating Texas.
Oh, with that,
you damn sure not going to beat them going like checkdowns. Like I'm just. You got to get explosive. There's no way to beat these teams that have these type of athletes playing the way Graham plays. You got to go with the higher ceiling and play both guys. I think like both finding the chemistry of how you rotate both guys is the best for the team. But just saying Graham Mertz is the guy you lean on, I don't think so. I think with Georgia and some of these defenses are going to be biting down on us. Even with like some of the things that we had going on, we'll talk about the defense. UCF had guys open. KJ just couldn't hit it. And other quarterbacks in this league that we're going to face are going to hit those throws, and you're going to have to go get points. So you got to get vertical. And if you want to coach Lagway next year, He's gonna have to get vertical and explosive and go get some points.
He's gonna have to play Lagway this year, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, starting this week, Tennessee, I know they're coming off a loss, but Tennessee averages, I think, like just a hair over 46 points a game at home under Josh Heupel. So this might be a game. I think it was Edgar Thompson who asked the question today, like, hey, do you think you're going to win this game, do you think it's going to have to be like a track meet? Or you're going to have to score?
Said, I hope not.
Yeah, he said, I hope not. We're more of a truck racing car than an Indy car right now. So
we're more of that speed walking in the Olympics that you see every year. Right?
We're more of the go-karts at
well, sometimes they look like ray gun breakdancing at the Olympics more than they look like anything else.
Yeah, the old Grand Prix.
I'm not that high on Tennessee after last week. We'll talk more about it, but I'm not extremely high. We can talk about the rest of the offense.
Let's talk about the rest of the offense. Do you guys have any more takes on Hayden Hansen in the tight end position, or can we move on to the offensive line, who I want to give some flowers to? I know against a rather meager opponent, but I think they deserve their flowers.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Good. So pass blocking perspective, you don't see numbers like this very often at the University of Florida over the last decade. Pass blocking, all three starters are right at the 80 or higher number. Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon got an 85.4. Najee Harris got an 85.1. Bryce Lovett, he played more. So did Cam Waits, 81.1 and 81.1. Jake Slaughter, 79.3. Really the only one that struggled a little bit was Austin Barber. And that's just because he allowed one hit and one pressure. They did not allow a sack in this game. Only allowed 2 total pressures, 4 hurries. Sorry, 2 quarterback hits, 4 hurries, and 6 pressures. But overall offensive line looked really good in the game from a pass blocking perspective. From a run blocking perspective, struggled a little bit. Bryce Lovett, really poor when it came to run blocking in this game. Najee Harris, not great. Jake Slaughter didn't have a great day in run blocking. But like you said, Nick, Shim DK was your highest rated player in run blocking, and Austin Barber was right behind him. And that's what you want to see in Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon right there. And like I said, Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon right now, out of all tackles on the right side and left side in all of the FBS, is ranked right around number 18 right now. He's technically 25, but like 7 players ahead of him have played like 20 snaps.
Nice. Yeah, offensive line, they dominated an inferior foe. They haven't done that in the past, so I don't want to just gloss over it. The UCF defensive line, I said it wasn't impressive. And I just stood on that the entire game. That's a bad unit. And our offensive line did what they should have did on a bad unit. There was a lot of run lanes. They provided a good running game, good protection. There are some procedural things that I want to clear up, especially with Damian George. He's got to just tighten up a few things there, but decent game for the offensive line.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 offensive linemen. I think it was Crenshaw-Dixon, Slaughter, and Barber played every single snap. So we've stopped that, musical chairs. Really the one that got the most, I think, off the bench was Bryce Lovett, and with Najee Harris kind of
they both
at times.
Lovett and Waits both played 17 snaps. Not trying to correct you, but I agree with your assessment as to why, but they both played 17.
Yeah, but I think Bryce Lovett might be the one that I would watch getting more reps. Like, I know they like Cameron Waits and that size. I get it. I still think he's better inside, just doesn't have the foot speed, but I don't know if he can handle SEC nose tackles, defensive tackles. But I think we might continue to see more of Bryce Lovett working in that left guard spot, maybe right guard if George is struggling. Yeah, he's got to be a smart kid because he's repped at all 5 spots.
Yeah, shout out to Bryce Lovett, man.
Maybe the coaches just ain't that smart.
Oh, man. Anything more on the offense? Obviously, first half, really good first half. Second half, just not great overall, just in terms of obviously you don't have the ball a lot, so there's only so much that you can do. Play calling was meager. It's this lack of a desire to put your foot on somebody's throat, which I would like to see more of. I do, like Nick said, I want to give a shout out, and I tweeted about it. Billy Napier, for the first time in a very long time, actually showed emotion on the sideline. And you know what? I think the fans absolutely ate it up. I think the fans love to see that coach. It was a bogus penalty, but the fact that he did that, yelling and screaming, I'll take that 15-yard penalty any day of the week if it means the coach looks like he's not just sitting on the other side or standing on the other side of the sideline.
I asked him about it after the game. He was like, maybe I need to show a little more composure. No, thank you. Like, you don't need to go full Muschamp.
No.
Or Jim McElwain on KT, but like a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Lauren asks this question. Nick, I feel like Billy was a little more transparent in the presser today around pain points. Did you feel the same?
Not really. There's a lot of like reading between the lines you need to do with Billy. But over the last 3 weeks, I guess more so than like the last 3 weeks. Because we were getting a lot of like the same answers, but like Mark Long asked him at the very end, like hey, what's your margin of error? Because we asked Billy, hey, about the second half, what's happening? And he's like, well, we had a holding penalty and that really killed the drive. And it's like, is that how thin your margin of error is? Where if you have a singular holding penalty on a drive, that's it. Like, let's run it a couple times and let Jeremy punt it. Like, what is the margin of error? Because if you're saying that one penalty a drive is going to kill a drive or end it, then it's razor thin.
Yeah.
Was that before the half though?
That was no. He was talking about I think he also got mixed up too, because the holding penalty ended up on the missed field goal drive.
Okay.
He was saying that was two different drives. But gave like a nothing answer to Mark. Kind of gave him like a smirk, like, definitely not going to say that we have a razor thin margin of error. Even if I think it, this would not be where I would say it, in front of a camera being live streamed to Twitter and YouTube.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the defensive side of the ball. A lot to talk about.
Wait, first off,
running back room.
Oh, Tank.
We forgot. Tanks, running back room.
Because I'm not wrong about Tank. My tank take was not wrong.
What do you mean?
I saw you coming for me. My tank take before the year was there's too many guys ahead of him. He's talented, but he's not going to play over these guys. Tank wasn't even going to play over Marcus Burke on Saturday until Marcus Burke got hurt warming up. So like my tank
I just said these guys ain't that smart. So
my tank take was not that Tank is bad or Tank is not capable. It was he's not going to have the opportunity to get those targets because you're going to have Eugene Wilson, Aiden Mizell, the ghost of Andy Jean, wherever he may be, ahead of him in the pecking order.
Count on Andy Jean.
So Tank got those reps. And listen, Tank played great. He balled out, but he would not have gotten those reps if Aiden Mizell is healthy, if Eugene Wilson's healthy.
Well, then these guys aren't smart because I don't think Tank game is in the passes that he got. I haven't seen Mizell get any of those type of targets. The only person I think that takes targets away from Tank is Eugene Wilson from the style of play they're playing Tank in my opinion. The other guys, Burke isn't getting any of those looks that we saw, in my opinion. And if he was going to lose reps because Burke and Mizell, these guys aren't that smart with how to design an offense and how to design targets. Because I think he's the same type of receiver that Eugene Wilson is, and you give him the jet sweeps, you try to get him in space, you give him the bubble screens, a lot of things that they did Saturday. And he's been injured himself. I think him and Eugene both been battling injuries, but I think they're the same type of guy, and I think he deserves to get he's explosive. He could take a 1 yard catch and make it 8, 9, 10. He's a freshman too. I know some people saying he need to be a little bit tougher and drop his head to do some things, but the kid's explosive and he stretched the field too. Yeah. I think he should get 7 to 8 targets, even when Eugene is back. Eugene got to take a blow pause. You send Tank in there, give him some targets, put him on punt return as well. The kid's explosive.
Yes.
7 to 8 would be a lot. Gators threw the ball 28 times. He gets 8 targets in this game with those two, Mizell and Wilson out. 7 catches, 60 yards. He did have a fumble, but it wasn't.
How many did he get this game? He got 8 this game?
8 targets, 7 receptions for 60 yards.
I like that.
My guy down there says he's not as wiggly as Eugene yet. He's got moves, but not the moves like Jagger.
Well, no,
Well,
I
no,
mean, Eugene Wilson is
different.
also potentially a All-American
Yeah.
type of player, if he can
Yeah,
stay healthy.
Eugene is just he's a great value, Eugene. If Eugene goes out, it's a drop off, but it's not a huge drop off. That's what our receiver room.
Can it be better than
guys
great
are injured,
value,
the
though, like
drop-off
a
is not
Target
huge,
brand at
man.
least?
No,
What's
yeah. He's not great value.
Yeah, he's like the Target brand.
Target brand's
like
a great
that.
brand.
Yeah, he's like that Chip and Joanna Gaines at Target. You know what I mean? Like, it's not quite what they would sell online, but it's like, it's pretty good.
You're calling him Waco Wilson?
Sure.
Running back room. What are you guys thinking, man?
Biggest thing I took away
honest.
was a couple times plays would have been like Graham Mertz would have been peeling himself up off the ground if not for Jaden Baugh picking up blitzes. And this is a kid who Billy Napier pointed out today was playing wildcat quarterback, corner, safety, defensive back, receiver, and running back at high school. It's not only obviously he's one of the strongest kids on the team. It's not being physically able to do it. It's just knowing who to block. When you've never asked it in high school, he was probably asked to pick up or face a 6-man front and pick up a block as many times as the three of us combined. And the fact that he is able to identify it, whether that's his quarterback telling him who it is, and then execute it, saved several plays on offense. Mm-hmm. That's how you start getting more reps. If they can trust you to pass block, now you're in more stuff. You're in more packages. Pause. That to me was bigger than any of his runs. And he didn't have a great day running the ball, but those blocks that he had, his pass protection really popped off the screen for me when I rewatched the game.
Yeah, no, shout out to Ball. Let's just go through these numbers right now. In terms of total number, Montrell Johnson led the team with 54 yards on 10 attempts and a touchdown. Jane Ball had 9 attempts for 30 yards. And then Jacoby Jackson had 3 carries for 25 yards. I thought that was another solid game in what the time that he's given in the game. Great game by Jacoby Jackson. Montrell Johnson, you take out that 34-yard run, which you can't take out, right? Like it was an important run, but still then it goes down to 9 runs for 20 yards. And then again, it didn't look great catching the ball out of the backfield. I think he had 6 catches for 24 yards. I'm starting.
He had a nice one-handed catch.
Yeah, he did. And I'm not taking anything away from him. And I don't remember every single play. But I do think Jaden Ball and Jacoby Jackson have earned a couple more.
And you'd have to say 8 for 23, because one of them was that, right after Chim gets the ball down to the 1-yard line and he just gets handed the ball and dives. Really great play for him.
Then you can do that.
But I mean, I'm splitting hairs here. Too, it's not there. There are some. He has shown some explosion. He's got the long 80-yard run, 60-something 70-yard run. Yeah. He had the 34-yard run. There's been more explosion. I think more explosive runs from him this year than we've seen the last 2. I just still don't. This is probably too the most split we've seen the carries this season, I'd say. Without having the numbers right in front of me, I think it's Jaden Ball had 9 to his 10. Jacoby not getting as many carries as everyone else, but finding the end zone every weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from Montrell's vision is regular, is average at best. The offensive line, if they don't give him a hallway to run through, it's not going to go the distance. And there are some cutback lanes and some yards he's leaving on the field. If you watch the game and you watch some of these plays, when you hit the hole, a lot of times there's a cutback or a lane, or you could bounce outside, even go against the grain, and he's just going to go straight ahead and try to break tackles. It's just not there. He's got to have more vision. And I think Ball, by the carries he did have, you can see him cut back and get extra yards, and fight for extra yards. There's no extra yardage. There's no cutbacks, anything from Montrell. We've seen him for 3 years now, and it's just not there, I get why they're playing him there from a pass protection standpoint, but if Ball is picking that stuff up, give those guys more touches. It's just not there, bro. We can't be playing older guys and guys that you like just to please guys. He's not good enough a coach to do that. Billy don't call a good enough game just to play guys because they're older and you want to see them off to the NFL and they've earned it through just, time. No, you got to play the guys that have a higher ceiling that can make bigger plays, more explosive plays happen. And Montreal's a little bit – I like Montreal. It's nothing personal. I like his game. I like what some of the game – he done had some big games for us. He done came through. I like the play where he dove and got the touchdown. All that's sexy stuff, man. But he's leaving a lot of yardage on the field. When I was watching them play Saturday, no cutbacks, and I've seen cutback lanes in there. Like, the offensive line isn't perfect, but some of that is just running back. And you watch Gentry play, like, all that isn't the offensive line just being great. He's making shit happen. And Montreal is not a make shit happen running back.
Baugh has like a unique mix of like patience, but also decisiveness. Because like you're saying, like, find those cutback lanes. That's being patient, waiting for something to open. Hey, it's not open. Hey, that opened. But also, like, I've seen him take the ball and like there is a hole and just shoot into it. I really, really like his game. And like I said, as you see him start to pick up more of these, show that he's a more well-rounded back, you should see his reps and carries. And I guess I would like to see that. We'll see what happened to Trayon Webb. Billy said he was hurt Wednesday in practice leading up to the UCF game. But nothing against Trayon Webb either. I think if I'm going with it, I think it'd be 1 Montreal, 2 Baugh, and it'd be 50-50 reps, kind of the way that it was last year with Etienne and intro.
I like Jackson too, man.
Yeah.
Maybe 40-40-20. 40-40.
Webb's going to come back, so you got to figure out what you're going to do there.
What did I need to pause, JP?
Yeah, I don't remember what the pause was for either. All right, let's get to anything else on the offense.
No, not I could think of.
All
Cam
right.
Carroll is still on the roster. I mean, it was just a pretty devastating knee injury. I think like if Cam can get a snap on senior day, it would be like
maybe against FSU
for him. Yeah,
maybe give him a nice touchdown.
You don't want to tell
everybody against FSU.
You don't want to tell any kid like, "Hey, you're done." If they're trying to make a comeback, but like he's trying to climb Everest.
Oh, I mean, they let Jamarcus Weston play in this game too, so, and Jaquavian Frazier. So
Jamarcus Weston,
maybe I meant to.
And special teamer.
Yeah. All right, let's get a couple quick ad reads. I'll give a shout out to our friends over at Homefield Apparel, homefieldapparel.com. You can get great t-shirts, hoodies, not a hoodie, maybe a hoodie. I think you can get a hoodie. But you can also get like a starter jacket. You can get a pullover. You can get a bunch of different stuff on Homefield Apparel. Use promo code Stadium and Gale at checkout to get 15% off of your order. And also go visit Alumni Hall. Go visit alumnihall.com. Promo code ran out, so hopefully you guys use it before the October clock or calendar struck over. But go visit Alumni Hall. You go visit Homefield Apparel too, but go visit Alumni Hall. Anything that you want. Florida Gators wear, accessories, tailgate supplies, T-shirts, Christmas gifts, whatever it might be for the Gator fan in your life. Go visit alumnihall.com or go visit them on Archer Road in Gainesville. All right, guys, let's get to the defensive side of the ball. And Truth Seeker gave us a super chat about 30 minutes ago. He said, I'm not sure if 12 needs to remain getting playing time. He continues to get his cheeks clapped. No pause. He's for sure a chai latte with extra oat milk, Trey Dean.
Stay prayed up, like Trey Dean.
Yeah, I sure really
struggle. You oat milk, bro. Oat milk is solid, man. It's crazy.
Nope. I like the no pause part. He's not a good player.
Truth Seeker went full Diddy.
Yeah, full Diddy. All right. So Jamarcus Weston, he did get a sack in this game. He was the highest ranked Gator defensive player of this game. But looking at those that did count for most of. Oops. Sorry, guys. Let me go back here real quick. It's going to take a second, of course, because Pro Football Focus doesn't want to work right now. So what do you guys think of the defense before I pull this up? Pause.
Storming to the ball. I thought really good linebacker play. Thought up front, really good. And then on the back end, Jason Marshall's having, like, we threw out JAG accusations, just a guy accusations on him in the offseason. He's having an incredible year. Thought Bryce Thornton had a great PBU in the end zone. Jason Marshall had a nasty one on the UCF sideline, getting that hand up there. And I think we said before the game, you have to play your cornerbacks on an island, and we saw that. Hey, load the box. If they're going to beat you, make KJ do it with his arm. And the secondary stood up to that. And then that's the kind of, like, nastiness that we haven't seen from a Florida defense. And I don't care who the opponent is. We've seen them not play like that against Samford, not play like that against Vanderbilt. So just to see that aggression, I don't know, like Jack Pyburn tweeted after the game, he might have meant to at me. The shoe would have fit. He was like, y'all said talk is cheap. We said bet. Good. Like, come with that kind of.
Let's get off the high horse a little bit here. You know what I mean?
Listen, Dan, in the great words of Lou Brown from Major League, we won yesterday, we won today, and if we win tomorrow, that's called a winning streak. Florida hadn't won 2 games in a row since last October when they beat Vanderbilt. And
you know who doesn't have a 2-game winning streak right now?
FSU?
Georgia, Alabama, FSU, Tennessee. I mean, Florida's right up there with the elite of the college football world right now.
And real quick, debunking, taking the tinfoil hats off of fans. Austin Armstrong was on the field the last 2 games, still not calling plays. Unless Austin Armstrong has memorized the play sheet and is just calling the plays from the sideline off of memory, he's not calling the plays. They did move Ron Roberts up. I thought that's what they should do. Whoever was calling the plays, I thought should have been up. And the other guy down. Did not make sense to me. But that was a move that move to put Austin Armstrong down started in Starkville, but he is still not calling.
I mean, the Gators are 2-0 with Austin Armstrong down on the sideline cheering.
The season goes as Austin Armstrong's
all right.
Saturday positioning goes.
Yeah, there you go. Big week in sacks. Want to give a shout out. There was 8 players involved in 5 sacks. So George Gums was involved in 2. DeAndre Robinson involved in his first. LJ McCray, Pup Howard, Tyreek Sapp, Justice Boone, and RJ Moten. I tweeted this during the game. 12 had a stop on 4th down, and RJ Moten had a sack. Probably the 2 first highlight plays of their career at the University of Florida. So I want to give them a quick shout out. Haven't had the chance to do that on the show. But 12 did, of course, let me down later in the game. But overall, best defensive players in this game, Tyreek Sapp, RJ Moten, Bryce Thornton, great interception for him. Jack Pyburn, then Caleb Banks, then Pup Howard kind of round out your top 6 there. Defensive line finally get some pressures. Like I said, end up with 5 sacks, get 1 additional quarterback hit, get 9 hurries in the game. You're pretty good by the defensive line. I know we talked about UCF's offensive line not being great, but I mean, you got to do against teams what you should do against them, right? And it looks like they did.
Yeah, it seemed like they started the game. That first drive, they started going down the field pretty easily, and I was like, "Oh man, more of the same." But they seemed to have the strategy of bend but not break, and knowing that KJ Jefferson, when the field shrunk, he shrunk as well. Pause. But they did that pretty much the entire game. I thought Ron Roberts called a more aggressive game. A lot of exotic looks and blitzes coming from different places. That we didn't see even in the Miami game. I thought we were just super vanilla. I don't know if they just was feeling themselves more with knowing they was facing the type of offense they was facing, how limited they were going to be. But the approach and the game plan was on point with how to defend this team. I think Aaron Gates needs to play more at that nickel spot. He's playing super aggressive, very well. Nice.
Played well though too.
What was that?
He played well too, though.
Yeah,
both stars. Yeah, you got a good
yeah.
problem at star. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, both stars. But Aaron Gates is showing a lot of good things on that back end. Pause. Bryce Thornton Been talking about him playing more the safety position. Him and Castell's got to be your guys back there. He's a ball hawk. He has the best skills, ball skills in that back. It's been a while where we've seen guys. I don't care if it's an overthrow, bad throw. It's been a while since we've been seeing safeties attack the ball in the air. That pass breakup he had in the end zone, he played that perfect. The interception, the same thing. Just flowers to that kid. Young boys, we should have them a couple more years. But the youth movement, we got some guys that came through the portal in there, and they're out playing the portal guys. The linebacker room, bro, just Pup, Shamar, they play good football.
Jane Robinson had a good game.
Yeah, I was worried about just the tackling. Overall, the tackling got tons better. Tyreek Sapp playing great football, and we gotta give 44 his flowers. When Billy said that he needed to play more, I kind of scoffed at it. Like, really? Like, I just didn't see it. That fourth down play was key, and I think that was a big momentum shift in the game. We already had the momentum, but that kind of solidified and got the defense hype. The stadium went crazy. I went crazy in my living room. But that fourth down, Desmond Watson clogging up the hole, 44 crashing down, and us stopping them on maybe fourth and less than a yard. With a quarterback that's the fattest quarterback in college football, couldn't lean forward for that. That was a good sign as well. We'll see how it all plays out in the Tennessee game. But one more thing I like to say, I just got to see more Dijon. I called for Aaron Gates to be played. I called for Bryce Thornton to get more tick. Dijon, I think, needs to be on the other side of Marshall.
Yeah, I don't disagree, Nick. Matt Thornton has a question here, super chat. Why did Pup Howard not see the field during the UCF touchdown drive?
Everybody gets to play, man. This is Pop Warner.
Yeah, I mean, they're just rotating guys.
Yeah. Let's see. Not a bad game for missed tackles. Still, DJ Douglas had 2, Aaron Childs, Thornton, Searcy, Gates, Castell, Shamar James, Gums, Moten, and Bridges with 1. You're going to have missed tackles in every game. But like you said, Corey, just much better performance there. From a linebacker perspective, they looked pretty good. They've got that F position. So Searcy graded out okay. Pyburn graded out really well. And Gums graded out okay in some areas, pretty poor in others. And then from a linebacker perspective, Childs only played 3 snaps. Miles Graham only played 3 snaps. I thought he's going to get a little bit more burn because he came in a little bit earlier. I think it was the end of the first half or end of the first quarter, early second half or second quarter. But would like to see him play. He made a stop and, definitely looked like he was had his nose around the ball. Grayson Howard, Jaden Robinson, and Shamar James all graded out pretty well in that game. Corey, like you said, Dijon Johnson graded out very well at that left cornerback position, only allowed 1 catch for 6 yards in that game. Jason Marshall and Devin Moore played obviously your lion's share of snaps. Jason Marshall allowed 3 catches on 5 targets for 34 yards, and Devin Moore only allowed 1 catch on 1 target for 9 yards. So.
Yeah, it's just we'll see. There was some guys running open, regardless of but AJ Jefferson is a terrible quarterback. So Tennessee won't miss those throws. Nico won't miss those throws. And the some of what we're not seeing in the stat sheet may show up next week for the Tennessee game. I think Dijon's playing a little bit better than some of the guys and what the stats are saying, and when it pertains to catches for yards.
Yeah,
when we look at the stat sheet, it feels like we're splitting hairs. But when you watch
for sure,
film,
yeah. No, I'm just giving
it's a little bit different.
Here. No, I totally agree. I think Dijon's a great player that definitely deserves more snaps this season. From a safety position, all graded out relatively well. Tricus Bridges probably had his worst game graded out here, but overall scores that you like to see against UCF. Yeah. Run defense was solid against a team that runs the ball a ton. Tyreek Sapp and Jack Pyburn, Pup Howard, Shamar James, and Jordan Castell rated, and Caleb Banks graded out as your highest there when it came to pass.
Caleb Banks had a great game.
Yeah, no, I agree. RJ Moten, George Gums, Aaron Gates, Jaden Robinson, Grayson Howard are your top 5 in pass rush, and then Bryce Thornton was your best coverage player in this game. 83.9. A lot of scores in the 80s, which is not something that you've seen a lot with these Gators.
Here's a question. If Florida wins the next two, going to the bye week 5-2.
Yeah.
How are we feeling as a pod, as a record label, and a company about William Napier?
Fire.
He's I made an announcement on Twitter. He's still off my coaching board.
The current coach is off my head coach hot board.
Correct.
100%.
Okay. Dan, your hot board, your coaching hot board is quickly becoming one of my favorite things of the season.
Yeah,
quickly becoming one of my favorite things of the season.
I appreciate that, Nick. We're down to a limited number of names right now. You can earn your way back on. But if you get the off in all capitals, like Kalen DeBoer and Kirby Smart have got, you are not allowed to re-enter. You're off permanently. Your name is written in the off category.
Now, is it a sliding scale? Like, what if it's capital O, capital F, lowercase f?
I couldn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I could, if it's lowercase OFF, you're sitting in purgatory.
Okay. Kind of like us.
Yeah, kind of like the Florida Gators are. You asked how Florida would be if they were 5-2. I mean, that would be fantastic. But then I know what the back end of that schedule looks like. Minus FSU. It's still tough, right? And you want to see some improvement, and you want to see some market improvement. And there's been times that I'm like, there's some good marginal improvement. There is a lot of ways that I could have picked UCF to win that game before, and could have had egg on my face. I didn't because, I wanted you to be the only one to stand in the paint being wrong. But it's still not getting to where I think this team needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're beating the teams that you should be beating. You should have beaten UCF. You should have beaten Mississippi State. You should have beaten Samford. I just think if Florida goes to Tennessee and beats the Vols, who are a much better team at home, I mean, everyone who isn't, and also it might just be like the media guy in me. Maybe it's just a talking point, but you almost rather Tennessee come into this after not losing to Arkansas. Like, does that kind of just like wake you up, shake things up in the building, make you more focused this week?
Yeah, I don't know.
Not that you need any more motivation for Florida-Tennessee game.
Yeah, I mean, you got to treat that game like it's one of your biggest and oldest rivals in the SEC East. You've had some of the best games in SEC history, the Florida-Tennessee game. And, you came and you shut them down last year in the Swamp. Now it's your opportunity to make a statement, right? And that's what we've talked about on this show is you've got to start getting those statement victories. You can't just beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And I think the thing that goes back to me, Nick, is Florida has beaten the teams that they're supposed to beat, but they've gotten blown out by two other teams, right? And I know Texas A&M is ranked highly, and I know Miami is ranked highly, but you just didn't look competitive in either one of those games, right? And I don't think Texas A&M is going to finish in the top 10 or top 15 this season. And Miami's got a cakewalk of a schedule, but I mean, they still had to come back from about 25 down against Cal. I think you want to see, even if they lose, that it looks to be a much better product with a couple of games that you should not win, that you have to win. You've got to beat Tennessee, Texas, or Georgia. Got to beat one of those. And then you have to beat and LSU, right? But I'm going to put the LSU, Kentucky, and FSU games in you have to win those games. Like, you can't be under 500 again. And those are the games that get you there. And if you really want to win over the approval of the fan base, which I think Harrison tweeted, I like it because Billy Napier did enough to win, but not enough for fans to be excited about wanting to keep him around. That's what Florida, they've got to figure out a way to 7 or 8 wins. And that path is still very, very challenging.
I think 6 or 7, I keep saying, I think 6 or 7, he will get another year because of, like you just mentioned, to get to 6 or 7 means you're upsetting somebody. LSU is going to be favored in the Swamp. Ole Miss is going to be favored in the Swamp. That means you're upsetting one or
the Gators
both
going
of
to be favored in any game this year other than the
FSU baby.
Right, no, other than that game. I mean, maybe Kentucky. I don't know.
No, I think Kentucky is better than, people got really, really down on Kentucky, but for some reason, Shane Beamer ever since Mark Stoops made the poor decision to clown on Shane Beamer's glasses and hat, backwards hat, Shane Beamer has just run it up on Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops, until I see otherwise, Mark Stoops out X and O Dan Mullen. As we've said multiple times, Billy is not an X and O guy on Saturday. Until I see something different, I don't know that Florida will beat Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's the big question that we find ourselves in, right? You have Tennessee. It's almost a must win, right? It's not a must win, but it is you've got to win somewhere.
Every game's a must win, bro. He's fired.
Yeah.
Like, I think he feels the heat on that seat. I think every game is a must win, and anytime a game gets where we're embarrassed, we've already been embarrassed twice in our building, which I don't think he can overcome that stench. What happened in the swamp, the home field, like what we've seen the last 3 years. I just don't think he can overcome it. But if you go and beat Kentucky, Florida State, and you upset one team that's favored, I don't see how you could keep and bring him back with where the recruiting class is at. It just it wouldn't make sense to him. You got the same exact schedule next year, and I don't feel comfortable with him playing Mario Cristobal or anybody else. I just don't think we're gonna have the better staff or the better coach facing the same exact schedule next year. So I don't know how he can overcome it. I think the administrative got to play it smart to keep the play. We got to talk about the Tennessee game, but I think they got to play it smart to try to keep the fans engaged, the players engaged, the roster intact, the porter from opening wide. These guys are playing for Billy. They seem to like him, but it's all, I think, chess moves being made right now, and I don't see how he can overcome the schedule to get a big win. Who is that big win? Is Ole Miss even big enough win to keep him? I don't think so. I don't think that team's that good. Kentucky already beat them.
Yeah.
Lane will fit right in.
Now, Lane's down on my list, too. We can talk about it. We'll talk about let's talk Tennessee. Let's talk Tennessee.
Yeah, let's talk Tennessee real quick. Tennessee, they did lose to Arkansas. Right now, beating their opponents 46-9 on the average. Their Nico Iamaleava is their passer, 1,048 yards on the season, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in that game. From a rushing perspective, Dylan Sampson and Deshaun Bishop are your 2 ball toters there. Dylan Sampson has 589 yards, 12 touchdowns. Deshaun Bishop has 306 yards with 3 touchdowns. They did play Chattanooga, where they beat them 69-3, and Kent State, where they beat them 71-0. But they have also beat NC State 51-10. They beat Oklahoma 25-15, and then, of course, they laid an egg against Arkansas. They averaged, doing quick math here, that would be 1,000. So they average almost 333 yards their first 3 games of the season rushing. Last 2 games averaging about 162, 163. So definitely a step back as the competition has gotten better.
Pass blocking might be an issue. Obviously, Cooper Mays is an all-SEC type of guy at center. But I think you look at the grades that Tennessee has, and they look good because of the opponents. If Florida can bring that same kind of energy and motor that they had last week to Neyland, I think they could get some pressure on Nico. He's not a dual threat, but he's certainly a guy looking to pass first. He's 6'6", he can move, he can extend plays.
He is third on their team in rushing yards, so he's mobile enough.
Yeah. Certainly he's mobile enough. I think a lot of that, though, is not like designed runs. Like, they're not really designing a ton of runs for him. He's just creating when things aren't there. But I think Florida, talking to Bryce Thornton today, said, we are trying to keep him in the pocket, trying to keep him contained. It will be interesting. It is a high-powered offense. It can be a high-powered offense. They like to move. It'll be the 3rd straight game the defense is going up against a team who wants to run with some tempo. I think UCF ran with way less tempo than I expected them to. But it's also going to be a wild environment. Like Tennessee, nobody clutches defeat out of the jaws of victory quite like Tennessee against Florida. Just talk about innovative, finding new and exciting ways to blow it against Florida. but that stadium's going to be nuts. A night game, Neyland, they're doing that checkerboard thing, which I think looks really cool. Seeing it in person was cool. Was shocked the first year that they figured it out. But yeah, like if Florida's defense can get to Nico a little bit, I don't know if you have their number or Nico's numbers, what he does, what he looks like throwing.
I do. What would you like to know?
Under pressure, when blitzed.
Under pressure, he is 6 of 18 for 85 yards and 1 interception. And then when blitzed, 16 of 29 for 270 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. So his numbers take a massive step back, both when blitzed and under pressure, as you can imagine. But
certainly a different quarterback than KJ Jefferson, but can you trust your guys on the outside again, Silk? Like, can you trust your guys and say, like, hey, listen, you're going to have to play on an island a little bit on the road. I get that. It's going to be loud. Make sure your communication is good, but we're going to commit some guys down into the box and try to bring some pressures.
They got to be careful. They got to be careful.
Yes.
Almost 62% of their plays on offense when they throw the ball are in play action situations.
Tricky.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably at 90%.
He is 3 throws oh man, let's see. What's that quick math? About 20% of his passes are going to be behind the line of scrimmage. Most of his passes, by considerable margin, are either behind the line of scrimmage or under 10 yards. He only has 49 attempts this season beyond 10 yards and just 19 attempts past 20 yards, but he's just 7 of 19 on those passes.
Yeah, I think we're going to be the most talented team they face this year. I think, like, bar none, we're the most talented team they face this year. Oklahoma is probably up there, but I think we got more talent than Oklahoma. The trenches is, we'll see where we at and how we perform on the offensive line, but skill position wise, I think this is going to be the best secondary that he faced from a talent perspective. I don't see Tennessee as being some juggernaut that is an unbeatable foe. This is a very beatable Tennessee team. I'm not going to discredit them going on the road. They probably could, you got a young quarterback. Him going to Arkansas could be, just anonymity. Like, we'll see. But from what I've seen this year, this is a very beatable team. We just got to go into their building, not make mistakes at the quarterback position, not make procedural mistakes with the offensive, false starts, because it's going to be loud. What does our silent count look like? Billy on the road has been abysmal. So, like, all of our games is going to come down to coaching. When we got this schedule in the beginning of the year, I didn't think, while everybody's talking about strength of schedule, I thought all these teams, there was a lot to be learned about all of them. And after seeing everybody play, watching Vanderbilt play Bama and just watching the parity around college football, we can play with absolutely every team on our schedule. It just comes down to coaching, scheme, and game plan. And I don't know if we're going to have the right game plan to go on the road. Running the ball is going to be key. Keeping that stadium just out of the game. Blitzing, like we talk about the pressure, how Nico reacts to pressure. Heupel's going to call it a game. He's a good play caller. And it's going to be what Ron Roberts and Austin Armstrong could do to combat, Heupel's game plan. They should be favored. They shouldn't be favored by 16 and 20 points like they are. And we'll see how it all plays out. But I think this is a very beatable game. I think if we keep it one possession in the second half, let some doubt creep in, shake that young quarterback's confidence. But most importantly, they're explosive on offense. And if they start turning this into a boat race is not something like we're going to be driving a yacht.
It's a pontoon boat. It's a pontoon boat.
Yeah, we got a canoe. If it's going to be murk, it's going to be a methodical canoe of going down the field. If you want to get in boat race competition, you're going to have to pull that Ferrari out, the number 2 on the tag, and let him do what he do. I think that's how we win this game. You got to have Lagway involved with getting explosive down the field.
Tuan, Nico has 2 interceptions. Dan literally just said that, so not 5 or more.
Yeah. Nick did say that the Gators are going to be 30-point underdogs in this game, so just another live fact.
Man, your boy is hot this year. Your boy is hot.
Yeah. Their defense is formidable. They do have a very strong defense.
They're a physical team.
Yeah, they are. Joshua Josephs, Trey West, is it Trey? Tyre? Tire? It's not Tire. Whatever. Jeremiah Tellender, Omari Thomas, and Omar Norman Lott are your best players on the defensive side of the ball. Jermod McCoy is your best secondary player. But from a defensive back perspective, there's a big gap between him and then Jalen McMurray when it comes to defense, and he's the other guy covering the cornerback position. Safeties look to be okay, nothing world beater in that regard. They have, and now mind you, Pro Football Focus does half sacks as one, so they only have 11 total sacks on the season. They have 67 quarterback hurries, though, so they're definitely getting after the quarterback. So that's Tennessee. Any final thoughts on Tennessee? Do we want to do a buy or sell?
What we at health-wise? Receivers, who's back, who's missing, what we expecting? I know Mizelle's back. Talked with his pops. I think he should be back in the fold this week.
Yeah, he was in and out of a walking boot after that Mississippi State game. Eugene, I'm going to echo what Billy said. We asked him about Eugene after the game. Maybe we might be able to have to do like a pop-up show after we get these start doing the injury pop-up show instead of the depth chart pop-up show.
Well, let's see what happens with this hurricane.
Yeah. It'll be
put my life on the line to talk about a injury report.
yeah.
Dan has to, Dan reporting live from outside in Tampa.
Yeah, if I
all his life, baby,
right next to Jim Cantor. Eugene looked like I was writing a story because they want me doing a final injury report like right before the game, and I'm sitting there and I literally wrote Eugene Wilson is going to play. Watched him come out in full pads
all year, bro.
No, not. I'm just saying based on what I'm watching. Like Eugene came out, warmed up in shorts and a t-shirt like he did against Texas A&M. Then he came out in pads. And he's catching punts. He's running routes. I'm like, he's going to play. He looks good. He's moving well. And then he was the last person out of the locker room, in street clothes. I'm just like, someone told me Eugene Wilson will play when Eugene Wilson feels 100%. And I'm starting to think that person who said that 3 weeks ago was right. He looked good. Clearly he did not feel well enough to play after warming up.
All right, well, let's introduce
perfect way to be 100%, man. Put my guy, no pun intended, guys, post up right there. I like that stat. Yeah.
I like it.
Guy comes with numbers, and guys got if he were a betting man, has a considerable amount of money on the Florida Gators this year.
He said he's got $5,000, I believe, riding on 4.5 wins, over 4.5. So I hope your trip to Vegas.
Guy took the over back in like June.
Let's see.
I think he was out there on like a business trip. Guy also is a jet setter.
I can see that.
He's all around. He'll correct me, but I think it's in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Guy's always posting his vacation pics on our message board.
So I'm right, $5,000 riding on the Gators. I say if you win, you just
ain't that big guy like 5K.
Take Stadium and Gale out, and we'll do a live show from the Cosmopolitan.
Guy put his money where his mouth. When Guy goes to collect in December, we'll have you Aruba. There it is. Guy,
Aruba's a fantastic place. Big fan of Aruba.
We will get you set up on StreamYard here where we record. And we will have you cash that bet live on Stadium and Gale.
I like that. All right, guys, let's do. All right, let's do buy or sell. Let me put up the banner. Pew, 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 pew. All right, so 2.5 sacks. The Gators defense gets 2.5 sacks.
Buy. I gotta get the fans back on my side after last week.
I'm going to buy.
2.5 sacks. I'm going to sell it.
Okay.
Hater.
The Gators get one
They got to get
interception
3, bro.
or more.
Yeah.
Say it again, Dan.
Gators get one interception or more on defense. Pick off, Nico.
One interception would
Correct. One or more. Corey, that looks like you're buying.
I'll take
baby.
one.
You're going to take one, so you're buying. I
Buying.
will buy. The Gators
Listen, I got 3 years of money saved up for this episode.
I love it. Now we're using guys' money here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
might start double downing on some of these bets, you know? All right, Gators get 250 yards passing.
You're going to have to, bro. It's about to be a boat race.
Yeah.
It's going to be explosive games, man.
Buy, sell for Dan the Man. 150 plus yards rushing.
You call yourself Dan the Man? That's crazy.
I just did. Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
Going in third person and call yourself Dan the Man is crazy.
Shout out to Dan the Man for selling. 150 yards rushing.
Sell.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to sell it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to buy. I like the Gators to go for 168 yards.
One less.
Yeah, they need the ball down at the end of the game. They lose that one. That's 2 yards.
Not nice.
All right. Drives that DJ Lagway has 3.5 or more.
Over, because I think they will stick with that 2-to-1 ratio. And I think you'll get more drives than only having where they have 9 last game, only 9 offensive drives.
They had 9 offensive drives, yeah.
I think this is a game where it's tricky for Billy. Like, he just got a lot of favor back with the fan base. He was all riled up, right? But if it turns into a boat race and we already seen what Lagway brings to the table and he gets like 3 possessions and we lose, like, it could really, like, you know, turn Viking hat crazy in Gainesville, man. So I'm gonna buy it. I think he's gonna need to play that kid, whether he want to or not, just from the pace of the game. And Tennessee is gonna go vertical.
Okay, I'm gonna go buy as well. I think he gets 5 drives this game. I think that they introduce a wrinkle where maybe they don't do it every 3. I think maybe they've done that against Mississippi State and UCF. Different this game.
Against Mississippi State, they threw him in there to run that like off tackle. That does not count as a drive, though, would it?
Right. No, they it didn't really. At least in the way that I'm scoring this at home. All right. No, it's not coaching hot board time yet.
I'm about to get excited. I'm ready, bro.
Don't get too excited. All right. Let's do right now. The over under is 17. All right. Pardon me. The spread is 17 at last check. Let me see. I'm going to do a quick ad read because I can do that off memory. Go visit our friends over at Gametime Sidekicks. These guys, best cups that you can get on the market right now. You can get Florida Gators ones. They got about 20 different options. They've got some really, really, really cool options that just got put on the website the other day. Highly encourage you guys to go check out Gametime Sidekicks. Use promo code STADIUM15 at checkout. That'll get you 15% off of your order. So go check them out. They have other cups besides the University of Florida. So if you have a friend or family member in your life that you want to say, hey, I want to get you this awesome cup and get myself 15% off, use promo code STADIUM15 at checkout. All right, gentlemen, lines moved a little bit. How do I get this? All right. So right now, Tennessee is favored by 15.5. That's a minus 110 bet if you want. Money line, if you want to take the Gators straight up, plus 515. If you want to take Tennessee straight up, it's minus 665. And your over-under in the game is 54.5. So I'm going to do an over-under buy or sell that it goes over 54.5.
Over.
That's like a 30.
Buy.
Yeah, buy. I'm taking.
All right, we're all buying. You got guys' money. Why not buy? Right. So
spend guys' money.
Let's go. Who do you guys have?
Them boys couldn't score the whole first half, man. That's another thing. Watch that Arkansas game. They got blanked the first half. It's not a very sexy team. It could just be a one-off game. They just, sputtered. But a little bit of what Guy was saying versus actual Power 4 teams, they look human. But we also have the knack of turning quarterbacks and giving them Heisman opportunities and performances. So we'll see if we change a little bit. Going on the road has been Billy's Achilles heel. And another thing that I think gets him fired, not being able to win on the road. He hasn't been able to win anywhere, but we've been struggling on the road. So if he gets smoked this game, it's just another notch on the belt, bro. Another reason to get him up out of here.
Fire up the Sunday pod.
All right. I think you may just wait to the end of the year to fire him because you want to keep the kids in the fold, man. You know, like out of the portal, you want to beat Florida State toward the end of the year. You feel me? You know, want that Georgia game to be as competitive as can. And this coaching staff, like, there is no clear-cut interim that you would want to like lead these guys the rest of the way. So you just let him finish. Like, we got to give him a buyout anyway, make him earn the check.
We call that the Ron Zook.
Yeah.
Corey, who are you picking to win this game?
You already know how I'm rolling, baby. Fuck Tennessee.
That's
Gators,
right.
baby, big. 10, 14 points.
Nick?
Yeah, I'm picking Tennessee.
Yeah.
There's probably later.
I've been alive
fix my mouth to say a Tennessee win, man. I don't got it in me. Pause.
I think I've been around for 36 years on this earth, and I don't think I have. I for sure have. And I've only seen Tennessee maybe win 5-6 times during that maybe 7 or 8. I'm going Florida.
Going to Florida-Tennessee rivalry. I made the decision not to respond to Robert McVall. Just
that guy. Who's that guy, bro? I'm disposed to blocking that account.
Every account that I see that's college football related, he's the first comment. I'm like, buddy, you got to get a life, pal.
Yeah. MVP basement guy right there, bro. He does not leave mom's basement.
Since 1990. Since 1990, which that'd be Spurrier's first year when Florida Tennessee started playing, I think every year.
Yeah.
Tennessee has 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins since 1990.
So I don't know what they did and if they played in 88 or 89. So 8 wins. I got to go UF until they show
8 wins in your 36 years of life.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
Bunch of losers. Can you imagine being a 36-year-old Tennessee fan and you're on the reverse side of this conversation? Like, yeah, man, I've only seen 4.
Oh, they just talk though. 8 out of 36 is like, and they still, they
stink. The only thing that they have is the Vol Navy. That's kind of cool because they got the river right there, and I love boating, so I think tailgating while you're boating to me sounds like an elite activity. At Calhoun, that restaurant that they have that everybody loves, average. But anyway, let's get into my sound effect for the coaching hot board as it slides up here.
The sound effect has to be Corey.
Fired. I don't think I can put. I don't know if we have a
fire. Yeah, we need that fire.
We're gonna put that in the Stadium and Gale intro when it happens. All right, guys. Who's let's talk coaching. Let's talk coaching. Kalen DeBoer off.
Tough.
Who would I take off?
Kalen DeBoer. Also, let me point this out. Florida.
Oh boy. Can't wait.
Not the only team to send 2 guys in the same jersey number out on special teams. Shout out to Alabama for joining that party. Losers. And shout out to that Alabama DB. Hilarious. He's mad. Vanderbilt had just gotten a first down. He throws his mouthpiece farther than Graham Mertz can throw.
I like that kid, man.
He walks over to the ball. He kicks it. The part that sent me, though, is turns, sees the ref, and he fakes throwing a flag. He's like, I know it. You go ahead and throw it. Loved it. Hilarious.
I rock with that jit, bro. Hey, we got kids on our team that'll get their ass
from South Florida. That kid has to be from South Florida.
Our players get smacked and go clubbing, and go do Q&As with the cuties at the club afterwards, bro. So I don't mind seeing players mad that they're losing to Vanderbilt, bro. Like, I like it. Like,
This is funny. Tennessee fans
those
have
are
their
funny,
ways at
man.
pilot gas stations. I'm sure that's happened. I wish I could find it. I don't have Facebook anymore. I had an old photo of when I went to the Tennessee game in 2008. There's the most illustrious mullet that I've ever seen in my life by some guy that was working
Illustrious
that game.
mullet.
So big week in college football. I saw a listicle today of coaches that have struggled recently, and Lincoln Riley joined the same list that Billy Napier did of being 5-7 in their last 12 games. Corey, I know you were high on Lincoln.
I dropped him. I thought I seen that list. If you're on the same list as Billy Napier, I got to drop you either off the list or down the list. So I moved Lincoln down to my number 5 spot. After seeing him with the same record over the last 12 games as Billy Napier, 5-7. That's egregious.
Okay. So it seems to me like you may have a list in front of you. Is that true?
Somewhat. Yeah. Just remodeled it a little bit. I got no particular order. I'm still working on this thing, man. Lashley made an appearance. Rhett Lashley. I like what he's doing at SMU. He gotta.
He's going to want to call his plays.
Yeah.
I trust him more to.
Just adding some context. If he comes, he's going to be calling his plays.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, overall, I do want my head coach to relinquish play calling. But if Lashley's coming in with that offense where he's at age wise, like I won't mind if he come in and call it out the gate. And then eventually find his OC.
I think the difference is you'd be hiring him because of his play calling, whereas you hired Billy to build a system, not because of his great Saturday X's and O's.
Yeah, no, Billy's not making his paychecks he's making it off of like more recruiting and having more talent out there in Louisiana and dominating teams in that fashion. But Lashley's offense, he's just putting on like it's fun to watch. It's explosive. He evaluates talent well. He has to at SMU. I think he's going to have a shot to win the ACC. It's going to come down to probably them in Miami. I think SMU beats Clemson. And I don't even think it's going to be a tough game. I think they handle Clemson pretty strong. I like his quarterback. I like his receiver room. Even the backup scrubs that he brought over from Miami, the guys that didn't pan out there, they're doing okay over in SMU. So I got him. Wasn't on the list, but I had to add him. What do you guys think about Lashley?
I asked, let me pull this up. I'll read a quote. I won't say who it's from, but I asked somebody out there in Texas about him who covers SMU. And I said, what do you think about Lashley?
Was it Trav? He's in Dallas.
Okay. No. I was like, what do you think about him in terms of coming here? He said, is he ready for an SEC head coaching job? And they said, I do and I don't. He wants to call plays. So he'll really need to hire a top-level staff, which some of the guys on his staff right now could be brought with him, but probably shouldn't be. He's a really good recruiter, understands the landscape really well, though. He'd be someone you'd want to grow with.
I need to win with. All right. So I don't know enough about Rhett Lashley to give an opinion yet.
I like him a lot. Young guy, too.
I know he's a young guy. I remember he was at Miami, right, before. He's offensive coordinator in Miami.
Yeah, he made Tyler Van Dyke actually look like an NFL quarterback. Yeah. The only if I got anything unknown is, first of all, I would like more head coaching experience. Another thing too, I don't know as a recruiting guy, like what's his chops. You know, how good is he as a recruiter? So those are my 2 question marks with him. This list is not in order as well. I do still like James Franklin.
Okay,
I think he puts together great staffs. And personality wise, there's still some things to be desired there, but I like the way he hires. I like the way he recruits. I know they want to get out of Pennsylvania a little bit. That staff is probably getting a little complacent out there. So got him high on the list. He may be one if I had a list right now, to be real with you. Lane, he's not having the greatest of season, even though they smacked South Carolina. I think Beamer is an absolute idiot. I don't know why he still has a job at USC. Like, he just gave that game away right out the gate. Yeah. That guy he's not Beamer ball. He's embarrassing the family's name. He shouldn't even call it Beamer ball. Yeah, it's loser ball. Like, he went for a crazy 4th down in his own territory. Crazy situation. But not Lane
on the scrimmage too. Like, it wasn't even a good play.
Lane offense is something, I don't know, it could be Jackson Dart. It's just something I'm not liking and feeling about the offense and the way he's play calling right now. He's still on my list, but he's a little further down the list.
All of these names have not been removed from my list
Not
either.
to switch topics, but I have removed Jackson Dart from my Dolphins next quarterback hot board.
Oh, very good.
It should have never been on it. You had Dart on your board?
Listen, still need Tua to medically retire so we can get some money back, but Jackson Dart's been removed.
Adam Schefter, I think, said that retirement is not in Tua's vocabulary right now.
Well, you know,
probably because of all the concussions.
Based on the head trauma, there's probably not a ton in the vocabulary.
If he playing.
All right, so we got Brett Lashley.
Not have a vocabulary if you keep playing
Mashed
ball.
Potatoes.
We got Lashley, Franklin, Kiffin.
Yeah, I see people putting Marcus Freeman and also Dan Lanning. I just think they got great situations, and leaving those situations to come to Florida would just be a lack of mental health, you know, and self-love to take the Florida job, considering they're at Notre Dame and Oregon and things are rolling kind of smooth. And we still got some administrative things to figure out. So I don't see those guys leaving that situation. I still have Lincoln Riley on the list. He's just pushed down. I think that's a mutual situation out in USC. I think he don't want to be there and they don't want him there. And he's going to be looking for somewhere else to go. So I wouldn't mind still giving him a look. But if you're on the same list as Billy, I got to push you down towards the bottom of it. Kings, Cliff Kingsbury, still on my list. I like that offense, like what he's doing with Jaden Daniels. Texas Tech, a lot of people bring up his time there. All these coaches are growing. They're all young. I don't think any of them have hit their prime. So I still got him on the list because I know what he could do with Lagway and the offense it could be next level.
Leading the number one scoring offense in the NFL right now with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I just don't see him leaving the NFL. What he's doing with Jaden Daniels, he'll get another head coaching opportunity in the NFL.
100%.
And the quality of life as an NFL.
And then people telling me I'm crazy for having him on my list.
No, I have him on the list. I just don't think he's
leaving. An NFL job.
Yeah. I don't think it's crazy to have him on the list. I just don't think it's crazy in the sense that I think he won't go back to college.
Don't blame him. Love yourself, bro.
But in terms of being on your list, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he also Jeff Braun was on there, but I don't know if he leaves Louisville and then Lashley put hands on that boy.
Yeah. I don't think
SMU's
Jeff Brom's going to leave Louisville. He left Purdue to go to Louisville. He's played at Louisville, did really well at Louisville. I think he's going to stay there. He's got some good recruits coming in. I think he's going to stay. The name everybody wants to talk about is Kirk Cignetti, who's at Indiana, previously James Madison. I think age is a factor there right now.
Yeah, if you would like the next coach to be here for the long haul, Kurt Cignetti will be 70 in less than a decade.
Yeah. A little ageism.
Sorry about that.
I'm just going
to you body shamed. I was
HR. No, HR. You can talk to HR about your ageism issues, Nick. I'm not HR, so you can talk to them.
Okay. I will be throwing you and your body shaming under the bus.
Indiana is having a good year. I think that Indiana is going. I think that Indiana is a great spot for him. And I think that he's going to probably stay at Indiana. I don't know if Florida's going to kick those tires. They've not historically kicked tires on older coaches either. Like in really any sport. By the way, shout out to Roland Thornquist, the women's tennis coach. After 23 years, announced his retirement. So best of luck to him. He was on the show a few years ago. I don't know if he loved being on the show, but he was still on. Appreciated that.
All jokes aside, I like Indiana's team and what he's doing out there. But I think age, him having to recruit in Florida, personality wise, I watch a lot of his interviews. I don't know if it's a good mesh. For a lot of different cultural things, but he's doing okay out in Indiana. The style of that offense, I also don't know if that style of play is what will work with our fan base, but he's winning. He's doing okay out there. Just age, bro. He's 63 years old, bro. Like pop can't be on the trail trying to land 5 stars in Miami. It's just not going to work. Cristobal is going to come in there. You're going against Kirby, guys that are just a little bit younger, cooler, and all of that. And also, I think you got to hire a coach that's going to keep the Lagways in the fold. all the names that I'm naming are guys that have reputation with handling quarterbacks, getting quarterbacks drafted, offense, and also a splash type hire. You want to try to keep as much as his talent. And if you bring Cignetti and he don't keep the talent, now he got to go hit the portal and recruit off of his name and his age. I don't think
he's recruiting off his age. Yeah.
What?
I think
he's old. Like
HR call.
Yeah, let's go. Me and Corey are walking in there like stepbrothers in tuxedos.
Yeah.
Ready to talk to HR.
Bro.
I don't make this call. I'm not HR. You know what I mean? Yeah. Man. No, I mean, I think we all have the same concern. I think Kirk Cignetti, could be a great coach, and who knows, maybe a school will give him an opportunity. I just don't know if I see that at the University of Florida. Any other names out there? So I think Corey
McElwain involved with Cignetti, man.
Bro, shout out to Mac. Put some respect on my guy's name.
We're not going to put any respect on Jim McElwain's name.
Put some respect on my guy Mac's name.
I won't.
Best peanut butter and jelly sandwiches the Gainesville scene has ever experienced.
That's neat.
Yeah, who's the coach that did the worm?
Offensive line coach. Shoot.
No, tight end.
Nord, Greg Nord, the worm.
Greg Nord did the fucking worm in my locker room, bro.
You had LA Fitness personal trainer Mike Kent. I saw more Florida Gators at Gainesville Health and Fitness when Mike Kent was the strength coach than I've ever seen. And they were not chasing cuties. They were actually trying to get a workout in because they were not.
100%.
Let's see. Chip Kelly. Don't see Chip Kelly.
No, thank you. No, thank you. What was JP's list?
I think the same people.
He had them landed. He had them ordered.
Yeah, he did. Oh, here it is. It's Super Chat. That's my bad. My bad, JP. My board's James Franklin, then Dan Lanning, then Marcus Freeman. If Strickland gets to pick Brom, Cignetti, and Lashley.
Lanning is not leaving Oregon.
I don't think Marcus Freeman's going to leave. I don't think Dan Lanning's going to leave. I think that James Franklin. I think if James Franklin were to leave, it would be because he wants a different challenge. Right? They're 5-0 right now, one of a few teams that's undefeated this season. But does he leave for something if he doesn't get to cross that hurdle?
Ohio State and Michigan.
Same with Ryan Day.
Well, Michigan doesn't look like Michigan, but Ohio he cannot beat Ohio State. He has not beaten Ohio State. I think he's like 1-8 in the 9 years he's been up there. James Franklin.
Oh yeah, no, he can't.
I think he's like 1-8 against Ohio State. But yeah, maybe. Listen, the Big Ten, in the SEC.
Jed Fish pulled the upset. Well, I guess they were technically favored by like 1, but not a game that I thought was going to go Washington's favor.
What's Jed Fish's record right now?
Jed Fish has a large buyout.
No, I need him to lose. I don't want him. I just want to make sure he keep losing so we don't hire him.
Let's see. They are. Sorry. It wants to give me their all-time record. I don't care what their all-time record is. 4. They're 2-1 in the Big Ten. Fish can stay away. Yeah, I'm not going fishing for Fish. You know what I mean?
You've already experienced one fishy head coach.
Best peanut butter and jelly sandwich in Gainesville. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Lauren, I like Nick Savage, but I really like Tyler Miles. I think if you can keep Tyler Miles, you should. But
I got to see more out of Tyler Miles. I've got a large injury report that I haven't seen in 2 weeks. But I've got a large injury list and some players that haven't come back.
Now, if you were the AD, would your first question to the potential hire be how many offensive line coaches do you feel is necessary for your program?
James Franklin got 1. That's all we need.
Yeah, former Florida Gator legend Phil Trotwine.
Yeah.
Phil.
Running down on shit, man. Get Phil back to the Ville, bro. Look at that staff. The offensive coordinator they got from Kansas. I loved him at Kansas.
Yeah.
Excited on that staff. Penn State staff is one of the best staffs in the country. You know, people has a little flack to say when I said James Franklin, but that staff is top notch. When he lose guys, He had Manny Diaz before as his DC, and now Manny's going, but he hires very well, bro. Straight up.
Yeah. No, I mean he's got a good name. There is some question marks, but there's question marks about any coach, right?
Coach.
There's not that next coach like Urban Meyer was that next coach. Who are those names that are out there that don't have blemishes on their record? Everybody's going to have a blemish. Everybody's going to either be non-experienced enough. They're going to struggle with having won some games. They didn't win a national championship. You want to get a national championship coach that is going to probably be out of a job and go get Mac Brown, right? But there's 3 coaches right now, Dabo Swinney, Kirby Smart, and Mac Brown that have won a national championship. So everybody's going to come with some blemishes, and you have to figure out what do we value in a head coach.
Yeah.
Number of offensive line coaches.
Yeah, we need offensive line and just stability and somebody that can hire very well and competence. Like you said, everybody's going to come with some type of flaw. If you go with Lane Kiffin, who's the most popular name, like he's crashed out at several stops. Like Lane Kiffin is at Ole Miss for a reason. He was at FAU for a reason. He's one of the brightest minds in college football and football in general, but he's crashed out at USC. He's crashed out at Tennessee. He's crashed out at the Raiders. He left Bama and everybody wasn't satisfied with how he left there. Like every one of these coaches is going to have, like Lincoln Riley has the same 12-game record as Billy Napier. You know, like we could continue to go down the list. Everybody on that list is going to have some type of blemish. So you just got to like Dan said, you know, pro, cons, and then choose from there.
Yeah. Nick Saban's not there waiting to be poached or Nick Saban type. Dan Lanning is not going to come to Florida, right? You have to be realistic about the situation that you find yourself in too with what Florida has ahead of them, right? They don't have a fantastic roster of proven players that somebody's taking over because somebody retired, right? Kalen DeBoer, I know that they lost, but he took over a situation that things were going really well. You're able to poach a really high-level guy into that role. Florida's going to probably have to they're going to have to pony up, I think, a bunch of money if they go after James Franklin, because Penn State's not poor. They're going to want to try to keep him around. So what does Florida look for in their head coach? What do the fans want? And then ultimately it has to all work out. So,
yeah. No, I think shout out to JP. I know we got to wrap up. We're over 2 hours. But I think Franklin was interested in the job last time. I don't know if the interest was mutual last time. We ended up with Billy Napier.
It was Billy Napier the entire time.
Which is sad.
I like Mud. I like Mud. Get Nick. I'm assuming he means me as head coordinator.
No.
No. Because he says Dan and Silk is DC, OC. I don't know who's
he's talking about Nick Saban. You should.
No, he's talking about me.
With the famous coach.
Put Mud Kip plays up. Put Mud Kip plays up.
That's nuts.
Nick just said we're going to lose the UCF. You trust him to lead the program? That's nuts, man.
Trust me to earn that buyout. Trust me to earn the buyout, and you'll never see me again. I'm out of here. My daughter's going to be in diapers.
Then I'm in.
Gone.
I'm in if we never have to see you again. All right,
sign me up for the buyout.
Yeah, he was talking about you. Talking about big dog Nick Delatorre.
That buyout's going to be cash money.
All right, guys, we're at the end of the show.
Man, he's going to go full damn.
No. Not trying to lose. I will do everything in my power to not be fired for cause. First in the building, first with my feet up on the desk, checking Twitter. I will have, listen, you guys will have great conversations about me.
I'll take the NIL and GM role, man. That's
bag dropper. We're just going to call it bag dropper.
Yeah. Let me finance all this shit, bro. We'll get it popping real quick. We won't miss a 5-star if I'm in charge of the budget. I promise you that. We'll be broke, and then Nick won't win us no games.
Yes, that's fine. We'll be broke. The cupboard will be full for the next guy, and I'll be spending the UAH checks.
Yeah, I'll be on my life wallet bag, bro. I'll be just like Ruiz. We getting all the 5 stars, all that, bro. I'm talking Greasy on the timeline. I'm on Spaces talking Greasy and just landing commits, bro. 100%.
I see it. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Before we leave, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Share. Everybody be safe with the hurricane. Don't do anything stupid.
Sure.
And I think I've got something to week because we skipped it last week.
And if you're driving to evacuate, be safe driving. The roads are already clogged up. I was hearing from people stuck on 75. So if you're in an evacuation zone, please evacuate. And as you're doing that, be safe. Take your pets with you. It's always crazy to me. When that's crazy. Every time you get a hurricane like this, you hear about like dogs, cats like left in houses. Take your pets with you. What are you doing?
Be safe. Be smart. Don't try to think that you can beat the hurricane. You can't. Just do what you have to do. Hunker down.
Are you leaving there?
Yeah, tomorrow morning. Okay. Evacuating out of my evacuation zone A. I shouldn't get the storm surge all the way up to where I live. I don't live that far from the water, but it kind of just, the road. Anyway, but yeah, so I'll be in a safe spot tomorrow. It's kind of like, if you're a white dude like me and you go to the beach and like wear sunscreen, you can't beat the sun. You can't beat the hurricane, right? Just do what you got to do. Keep yourself safe. Want to see each and every one of you next week on this show. And who knows, maybe we'll do a pop-up show. I don't know. Right?
What are the odds that the game don't get played for a hurricane? What you guys, y'all want to?
100%. The game's in Tennessee.
Oh, we still got to travel.
They have already met. They met Sunday night and Monday morning. Billy was a little late to his press conference.
No surprise.
Making contingency plans for this weekend.
So the UF campus, I think, is closed
Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, so the players won't have to deal with classes. They would be traveling on Friday anyway, so I don't think that that's too much. I wouldn't be surprised if they headed out early. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow night they head out. You just don't really know where the storm's going to go, and that wind field's going to be pretty big. So, but yeah, as JP said, don't be a superhero. Let's go Gators. Think of the people in the communities that are affected. Think about those that tangentially are connected. Show empathy to people. Everybody handles these kind of storms differently. Everybody's stress level is very different. And even if they look outwardly like they're happy and energetic and whatever it might be, you just don't know what might be going on in their life. So just show empathy. Show empathy all the time, but definitely show it this week as well. So I have Song of the Week. Thanks, Corey. Song of the Week, Kip Moore 2 weeks ago put out his first new single in a few years. So the song's called Live Here to Work. Corey, I think you'll like it.
Yeah. It's a slap.
It's got a catchy way to start the song. I'm going to let you wait and hear it. But, man, appreciate everybody for watching. Stay safe. Go Gators. Beat Tennessee. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir.